Hey guys, thanks for coming to the Power of People show. This is Rae, your host, DJ Sugar Ray. Today I got a special interview for you. No other than Mr. Kevin Knight himself, Mr. Global Travel, Mr. Urban Camp Weekends, Mr. Black Travel Too. I hope you enjoy this interview. It's going to be a great one. Also, go like, go subscribe, and don't forget to share. You can catch us on all platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeart, YouTube. Hey, if you like it, come check out the rest of us. I hope you enjoy the show.
Power of edit.
That's a lot of work. That's why I keep telling you.
Hey,
That's a lot of work.
you chose
But
you
yeah.
chose this this hobby. You could show this entrepreneurship hobby.
But maybe it turn into something more, right?
It
So you
will.
never know,
It
right?
will turn into something.
Hopefully, I mean that's what we're hoping for,
Yeah,
right? We're looking for that.
yeah.
But like you said, I already hit the button as
I
you
saw
already
it. I
inspired me.
saw it. I saw it. You can't catch me slipping.
Yeah, man. Let's get this thing cracking. Yo, 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 welcome back, people, to the Power of the People show. This is your host, Sugar Ray. I welcome you back to join us today with another special interview today, another hot interview. I got a guy that I'm bringing to the table that he's a frat brother of mine. He's a surreal entrepreneur, a guy with many hats, a guy that does a lot, and a guy that gets a lot of people together. Hey, it's no other than Mr. Kevin Knight.
What's up? What's up? What's up, man? What's going on?
What's up, man? How you doing, Mr.
I'm
Knight?
good. I'm good, man. I'm just glad to be here and get this party started, you know?
So yeah, now I know I've been looking forward to this interview for a minute, man. I have it. I know you be all over the world. You're doing
Yeah.
a lot of traveling, and you're a busy man. Based on getting on the calendar, hey, I'm finally happy to be on your calendar and you on mine. So how's your day going so far?
I can't complain, man. It's a nice day in North Texas, which
Okay.
it's good weather. It's a good day, man. It's a good day. Looking forward to the weekend.
So listen, you got all these big things going on around you, a man that's moving a lot, moving things, new generation, got a lot of new generation. You tapped into the new world. You tapped into putting people together, bringing people together in just a true, I guess, I want to say more than an entrepreneur, you're an inspiring innovator, right? I like that. That's when I see Kevin Knight, I see an innovator, right? Somebody that's created something and now it has inspired other people to start creating anything. As a young black man, right?
Right.
I think you're about the same age. I don't think you're 50
Nah,
yet, right?
come on, brother. Come on, hey, man. Slow down. I'm not even close to fit. I mean, nah, man.
Well, yeah.
We're in the same age bracket in our mid-20s or whatever they say.
Okay,
Eh,
okay.
That's a lie.
And also, you're a member of the Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity
Of course.
Incorporated, one of the greatest fraternities in the world. All right, let's go ahead and dive in here. Go ahead and
Let's jump
introduce the
in.
people. I done did enough. You let the people introduce
What is
yourself.
it that I do? So I went to the University of Texas in Austin, Longhorns. After graduation, I spent almost 2 decades on what you could say Wall Street: stocks, bonds, mutual funds, private equity, financial advising, real estate investment trust, that whole world, right? While I was in that world, I still maintained my regular lifestyle, which included traveling, camping, hanging out with friends. And so, as you know, you live two lives, right? You have your corporate life where you code switch, and you have your I'm outside life, right? And the two
Yeah.
worlds should never mix. And
Okay.
they didn't mix
Right.
at all. You know. And so, while I was in corporate America, although I was making really, really good money, it wasn't that fulfilling, at least not towards the end. I was really just annoyed with corporate America. I was tired of code switching. I couldn't have a mustache, beard. I had a low haircut. I was the corporate suit and tie guy,
Yeah.
And just so happened at the same time, and social media was a little different back then. Remember on Facebook when you would actually post something, but everyone would see it because that's just the way it aligned. There was no real algorithm. Stuff that
Right.
I would post, which wasn't a lot. It was just a couple camping pictures every now and then, some traveling pictures, but those would go quote unquote viral, so to speak, even though that wasn't a word back then. You know what I mean? Like 2011,
Yeah.
2012. And so people wanted to do the same stuff that I was doing. And they would hit me up like, hey, we want to go camping with you. So something that started off as just a weekend trip with friends grew into from 5 people. I'm sorry, it was like 8 people the first time. Then jumped to like 75 people. And then at its height, got to like 2,000 people outside camping.
Man,
And after that, a few years later, they're like, well, hey, we want to go on these other trips that you're going on. So our first one
right.
was in St. Thomas, um, and we had like 300 some people there. And so then we started traveling to a bunch of different countries. So then I went from Urban Camp Weekend, and I was like, okay, but now we're doing everything else. Let me create a bigger brand. And then we did Urban Events Global, and that
Right. So hold on, let's go back a little bit. We gotta tell the brand,
okay,
introduce you as the CEO of the brand, You're not only introducing people to it, you're the actual CEO,
right, right,
right?
right, right.
And you created this brand and you can introduce that.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I
go let's
created
go there, let's go
so
there.
like urbanaventsglobal.com. That's where we house all of our events. And then there's a lot of different offshoots from there. Like I have companies in Dubai and Cape Town, South Africa, and Ghana. Hence, and it's something that we were talking about earlier, all the clocks behind me, right? It just makes it
Yeah,
easier to know what time it is when I'm emailing, texting, calling, or WhatsApping different vendors, staff, tour guides, all the different people, restaurants, all the different people that we work with in different countries, right?
gotcha. Yeah.
But from a big picture standpoint, we were able to pivot to so many different things. And so I could take this conversation 5 different directions, right?
Hey, let's go.
Because it's like Urban Camp Weekend, right? We're clicking along where I'm funding all of this out of my own pocket, right? There were at the time there were no sponsors. I mean, who wants to sponsor a black camping event?
Young
Doesn't even
black
make
people that
sense,
got there.
right?
Right.
They're like, no, they weren't buying into it. So I'm just paying for this out of my own pocket, right? And it's doing well. And then you start adding other events. But I noticed that the campground that we were using at the time, they started going up in their price. So it went from
Gotcha.
like 20,000 to rent it out to 30,000, 40,000, and they started getting greedy because they knew I really couldn't take this event anywhere else. And that's what you have to learn
Gotcha.
when you're into promoting events. You have to submit to the whims and wishes of the venues that are going to allow you in.
To your limitations with your limited
Right.
resources, what they
So if
got you,
they
right.
tell you it's 60,000, you either have to pay it or you have no event.
How you go about, picking this particular place or,
I got lucky.
when you went
We
about
got
yeah.
lucky. It was pure luck. It just happened to be a place that we were camping at, and I let them know like, "Hey, we want to come back." And so we eased into it. We never had a plan to grow. It was a hobby, right? There was no, and our generation didn't grow up in an entrepreneur type generation, right? So I
Gotcha.
had no intentions on leaving corporate America. Like, money's good. This is just a BS hobby, right? And so
Yeah.
the campground kind of grew with us, right? And it just so happened that it was easier to get their campground. And for more reasons than one, it couldn't have happened any other way, really just based on the dynamics of let me ask you this. You live in Texas.
Okay.
What are the odds of you knocking on the door of a campground in the state of Texas and say, "Hey, during the busiest time of your season, June, I want to rent out
Yeah.
your whole campground and take it over
For the
for the
weekend.
whole weekend." And the odds of them saying
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah, especially you being a black young man.
it's not
Yeah.
happening, right? Because
It's
and they
right.
already have RVs and stuff there. They have quiet hours that start at like 9 or 10 o'clock. I got lucky and found a privately owned one that business was kind of so for them.
Yeah.
And
They need
when you
it.
put that money in
Kinda
front
pay
of them,
flow.
it made it a lot easier. But I always knew at some point I have to buy my own because they're going to at the rate of which they're charging me and they're getting greedy and greedy and greedy. I have to buy my own campground at some point.
So, so what was your selling point? How did you what was your selling point? I guess
I
what
didn't have to sell it. They needed the money. It
yeah?
sold itself, right? So this is why they were getting greedy. They were still charging me per person that I invited. So not
Wow.
only did you have to have that I have to pay to rent the place, I have to also pay per person that gets there. So
Oh,
now they
okay.
have to have
So
on
they wanna
a
doubling up
wristband
on you.
from me and a wristband from the campground.
Sorta like doubling
They
up.
were
So
doubling
now they're
up.
doubling up. Whatever you make, we wanna make what you make plus, huh?
Absolutely, right? And
Yeah.
so I would
Yeah.
prepay for, 1,000 wristbands. So they would just give me the 1,000 wristbands, right? And
Got
then so I would put both wristbands on as people were checking in. And then they would check
gotcha.
for wristbands on their own. There's Kevin, you have like two people over there that don't have on our
Wow.
wristband. I'd be like, oh, let me go see. So they were just getting really, instead of just giving me the
Doing
facility for a set price, they wanted that and some. And so
gotcha.
I just started getting more annoyed by the situation because I started doing the math, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 just for the venue. And we didn't have it exclusively because y'all are still letting people on Saturday from outside come and rent tubes from you guys.
Gotcha.
So you're really like, so let me fast forward to 2 points. One, I ended up buying my own property, RV park
Right.
land. Two, they ended up having to sell 2/3 of their property because once we left, they couldn't afford it anymore.
Gotcha. So that was like almost like a point of adversity for you, and for both at a point of adversity, was that more of like, I guess, how many you started working with them and that relationship, how was that like that relationship is it
It
going? You
was
know what I'm
good.
saying?
So
Like as you get it in, like
it
so
was
yeah.
good.
How you maneuver that in that type of
It
relationship
was a good
when you have
relation. I
something
mean,
like that?
from their standpoint, they love me because I'm funding their whole campground. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the reason why, once you understand the place, so if you
Yeah.
want to find a campground in New Braunfels, they're a dime a dozen. But if you have an RV, you want one that has a septic system, water, and electricity. Obviously, those are the three main things. This
Yeah.
particular
That's
campground didn't have a septic system, so you had
that's
to
different.
every couple of days, if your RV filled up, you had to load it back up, close the slides, take it to a dump station and dump all the wastewater out of the tanks. That's a
Wow.
major deterrent for people that want to spend a weekend. So their campground already had a major negative to it.
Gotcha.
Being that we're only there for a weekend, it didn't bother us. But the average person that's in an RV hanging out for 3 or 4 or 5 days, they would just choose another campground.
They don't have to go
They
through
don't
all
want to
that,
go
and
through
they're
all
not.
that. We were only gonna be there for a couple of days. And then I knew a guy locally that can come and pump all the RVs for us. I would pay him to come pump the RVs, like pump the sewage out of the RVs for our guests
Yeah,
automatically. Half the time they didn't even know we were doing it because they would be partying and he'd be with his truck going by each RV and emptying it out.
just
And I
emptying it
think he
out.
charged me like $50 per RV and it was fine. You know what I mean? Typically there were about 20 RVs at the time. So I would just pay that out of my own pocket. But I mean, technically, they paid for it. It came out of their ticket sale.
Gotcha.
But I
So
say this, that's what it was a good relationship. My frustration with them as I started letting them know, why are we going up in price? Like, but I had to be careful how I had that conversation because they can always be like, forget you. We'll double it. And then where
yeah,
am I gonna host my event?
gotcha. While you're going through those, how did you start to maneuver? What was your turning point when you figuring out how you're gonna start to make your
I
turn,
I
your
I
next
started
turn,
knocking
or
on doors.
what?
So every time I would go down there to save myself a trip, I would because I always lived in either Houston, Austin, or Dallas while I was hosting this event. But the event was
Yeah,
in New Braunfels. So
yeah,
instead of making a separate trip to New Braunfels, every Sunday after we packed up and loaded up the U-Hauls, I would just drive from campground to campground, knocking on doors and just asking them what it would cost to rent out their facility, tell them about our event, blah, blah, blah. Nobody would return my phone calls. Eventually, like 2 different people
yeah.
did.
In New Braunfelsville area? Are
Yeah,
you talking
yeah,
about
yeah, New
back
Braunfels,
in
Canyon
like
Lake area,
Austin Hill
and then
your area?
we'd host it there once, but then they wouldn't let us come back because they would get noise complaints. It wasn't because we left the place messy or dirty. There were no altercations, no fights, no anything. Just
Just the whole
just
weekend
the
noise.
whole weekend of noise. And noise echo like bass, our music echoes, right?
Yeah,
And it echoes for miles. And so to them, their community reputation was worth more than what I could pay them to host the event on an annual or twice a year.
right. Because their business is more than just that weekend, and
Yeah.
they're going under reputation as where people look forward to it, and they was like, "This is their
And
getaway."
there's
Sometimes
a
their true
stigma,
getaway.
there's a stigma across the whole country actually as it relates to hosting African American events.
Yeah,
For example, a lot of people don't know this. If you're like a club owner in Dallas, by the time you let a black organization rent out your facility, especially on like a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday,
yeah,
in the white group chats, they're talking about you because that means you're going out of business. Because why else would you
Yeah,
let a certain ethnic class that makes up only 13% of the population rent out your facility when your core
yeah,
audience is white people? Let's just keep it a buck. It's white, right? So
yeah.
by the
That's
time
what
you
you
let
promote
black
to.
people in, it's like, oh, you must be going out of business.
Now you just kinda you're doing a cash grab at that point.
There you go. And then
Capital
you'll be out
grab.
of
You're
business
grabbing for
and your
capital.
lease will be up in like 2 to 3 years. And then your club or establishment will be closed.
Yeah, why do you think it's like that right now? Like,
Oh, it's not like
what
that
that
right
stigma
now.
what do you think that comes
It's
from?
no,
Is that just
it's
a temperature of the is that just a temperature of our
it's always been
society
like that.
right now?
It's always been like that.
Yeah,
That's a very easy economic question. In Dallas, Dallas is it's a shopping center city, right? So in
yeah.
Dallas, which is different than Houston, in Dallas, nobody owns anything for the most part.
You notice that all the time.
Yeah,
People
they don't own the
really
land, they don't own the building, they just lease. And so when your
yeah,
lease is up, as a real estate investment trust or private equity firm, our goal back in the day would be to raise your rent because we have investors to
mm,
pay back. So on the back end, those shopping centers, those apartment complexes are bundled into packages in real estate investment trusts. And your audience could
yeah.
Google that and look it up later. We call them REITs, REIT, real estate investment trust. That's all Dallas is a bunch of real estate investment trusts.
You can see that now and really clearly right now in the way that things are changing in Dallas. You
It
see it, but go ahead.
yeah, and so in order to pay your investors 12, 15, 20% returns, I have to raise the rent on those facilities. That's why your rent in commercial property, your rent in an apartment complex will always go up. It's designed to go up because they have to pay their investors. It's not designed to stay the same. The only time your rent goes down is if you're in a crappy place. You know what I mean? If you're in anything halfway decent, your rent's going to go up. So it's not that these companies are going out of business. Their monthly rent may go up by 5, 10, $15,000 a month, and they don't want to pay it. But the reason why the real estate investment trust can charge that is because over the last 3 or 4 years, there have been people knocking on the door saying, "I want that venue, and we're ready to pay, and we're going to pay 50,000 a
See.
month." So they're gonna say, "Hey, you got to pay 55,000 a month to keep, but if not, we already got somebody ready to move in tomorrow."
What do you think about that though? Does that create a
Business,
lopsided opportunity
business,
for
business.
just
I
business?
don't think about it. There's nothing to think about. It's business. I've been on both sides of it. It's the way it works. Put it this way: once you understand it, what is there to think about? Because if you understand you're getting into a 5-year lease, you know anything can happen after that. If you don't write in
Yeah,
certain contractual guarantees, then you should just know your rent's about to go up after 5 years.
yeah. But that's kinda
Walmart leases most of their buildings strategically. On the flip side, McDonald's owns most of theirs. They own the land in the building. That's why if you look at it, a lot of McDonald's, a lot of other companies, you won't see the traditional McDonald's looking building. It's going to look like a regular. That way, if ever McDonald's wants to move, they could put in,
they could just get out that building,
they
they
could
could
put up
relocate
another
somebody
right.
else into it.
Look at Pizza Hut, old
Yeah.
school Pizza Huts. They look like they all look the same, right? You can't s-
Oh, yeah,
you can't sell that building. So now the new Pizza Huts are just regular box looking regular buildings. And all fast food restaurants are doing that.
yeah, a lot of people are not necessarily building from ground up anymore. They're just turning over. They're not necessarily building ground up. Actually, but I also look at that as a way how kind of the gentrification part comes into play of demographics of cultures, of demographic of the cultures. So the gentrification. And what I mean by that is when that happens. So like when you say the RETs, right? They come in and some people can afford to come and buy that, right? They could buy the developers can come forward to get that land or get that area off of someone that just may be cash strapped, right? Or need that at that time. So they come in and develop it, right? And they put up in all these new developmenting buildings or whatever they choose to be. And it becomes a venue, a hot place where people can, like you say, lease it out,
Mhm.
lease it out. Continue to lease it out and then continue to raise up the premium where that the people that are surrounding them can't even afford it. So therefore, it creates a domino effect,
I
and
get it.
in a way, it kind of starts the
So
process
I
of the
can make an
gentrification.
argument for or against anything, right? So is it good or
Yeah,
bad? Just depends on which side of the coin you're on,
it
right?
depends on
It,
exactly. I agree with that.
I know black developers that gentrify certain cities.
They do it too.
So it's like And then when you say culture, what is the culture? And is that a good culture?
Well, just, I mean, like the dominant
I get what you're
neighborhoods,
saying, but
the dominant the dominance of the neighborhood. Sometimes you need to mix it up, but then again, it could be mixed
but
neighborhoods,
I'm
right?
also
Or just say,
I'm
but yeah,
intentionally
but
I'm intentionally playing both sides, right? For the sake of this
yeah, yeah,
conversation.
I get it. I like that. I like
Because
that because
some things need to be wiped out. You know what I mean?
start over.
So if we want to talk about Cabrini Green in Chicago, we want to talk about the lower Ninth Ward in New Orleans. We want to talk about there are certain areas where economically they weren't doing us a
Any
favor
conservative.
from especially from a growth standpoint for our community. Like for example, a lot of these places that are being gentrified, truth be told, if you ask the descendants and the kids and grandkids of the people who used to live there, they don't want to live there anyway.
Well, I
Some of
hear
them
you,
don't wanna live there.
but I can hear you this, but it's another coin to that though.
Go ahead.
When that's my opinion, when those things happens, that's because other people are not keeping up with the area, and therefore you want better things, you want better resource, you want better. But again, that goes down to your city government, right? For you got to have some help, right? Got to have people help because, I mean,
Who votes on the city government?
the people. But again,
So if the people aren't
who
voting, so whose
determines?
fault is
But
it if the people aren't voting?
I don't think it's just that, but it's about them doing their part because the people that sits on the councils and the commissioners, they the one that determine what business goes where.
Which get voted in by the people in that community.
Yeah. So once, but
So you gotta take
those
if you
people,
can't take care of
but
your
like,
own
but
community
hold
by
on. But
voting,
when you said, right,
why should if you can't invest in your own community by simply going and voting, then you can't
yeah,
complain when stuff doesn't go your way.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
So
But
why should someone else care more
voting,
about your home than you do?
but I wouldn't say that. But I'm saying that that voting argument could be manipulated, right? Because
It's being manipulated right
voting.
now in real time.
Right, because voting is a tool that we use to get things moved, to move people and to move certain things, right? But then you also have other pieces of the tool that makes the tool work. So, like, for instance, if you have a drill, right? You got a drill, but you have a nail and say you have a screw. But with that drill, you probably need that bit
Absolutely.
to screw the nail, right? So what I'm saying, the people are the drill. You got the other people that you voted in. They are the bit. You still have that nail that's there, and whatever that nail is going to, right? So what that nail is going to, and all of those. What I'm saying is, they got to all work together. Then some people
What
work
you're
behind the
saying is
scenes, and some things behind the
it takes
scenes
a
works
lot
behind
of
the scenes.
it's a lot of there's a lot of moving parts,
It
and you
is
have to
right,
be involved in all the moving parts.
and it's tough
It's
because
very tough, but life is tough. And if you want to, for example, you're in a house right now, right? Your goal is to maintain maintain your household, right? So to maintain your household and to protect your loved ones, you have to make sure the bills are getting paid. You got to make sure the grass is being cut so you're not getting HOA letters. And you got to make sure there's certain levels of insurance. You got to do whatever it is to protect all the things that you love for your home. And that same energy has to go into your whole community if you value that community. So you're going to do what it takes to make sure your house doesn't fall apart. Your house is no different than the love that you put into your house to protect your family is the same love you have to put into your community if you want that community to protect you for the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years. If not,
gotcha.
it's going to fall apart just like your house will fall apart if you don't take the trash out, you don't dust, you don't clean, you don't change the air filter, you don't power spray the driveway, or you don't put fertilizer on the ground. It's a lot of moving parts.
Then things start to grow, right? So you have all
You
the
got to get the weeds
the
out your garden.
create the mildews, and all of those things to grow.
It's a
So that
constant
and
check.
that's kind of where you're going, where exactly where I was going with that. I was going there with that too when you're saying like people out of the communities and stuff like that. Yeah, and that doesn't make sense. So then, how do you measure that success though? How do you measure success in business though?
That's difficult.
But you don't just profit. So when you're measuring, so for your business, how do you measure that the success of it besides profit? Or is that
It's challenging, right? So I was asked this question from a broader standpoint the other day, and like, how do I define success? Success to
Right.
me is being able to wear sweatpants and a t-shirt every day and being able to eat lunch with my daughter at 11 a.m. at her school anytime I want. And that's it. Like that's success. Being able to enjoy my friends and family. That's success. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna dive a little deeper because I know where you're going. I think I know where you're going with the question, but that's my overall idea of success. From an entrepreneurial standpoint, I've turned my hobbies into businesses, right?
Right.
So is it work or is it play? I enjoy 70% of what I do.
Okay. That's a
30% I'm like, yeah, you know, but it comes with the territory. Like if
right.
you enjoy cooking, but you open up a restaurant, you're only going to be able to cook 10% of the time. That other 90% is like you're now the HR department, you're the marketing department, you're the sales department.
Yeah.
You're doing everything but cooking because you're running a business. The business part is not
Yeah.
always fun, but jumping on an airplane and being with my guests as we travel the world and camping and doing all this stuff, that's the fun. Dealing with
Yeah, that's a good
chargebacks and
one.
dealing with taxes and dealing with all that part, not so fun. You know what I mean?
Business
But
part.
so what is success?
I mean, what do you determine, I guess what I'm saying, what do you yeah, when you look at the business, how you measure the success of your business? When you're looking at
Success to me
that
is
you're making successful. I know
if
it
people are enjoying my products and services. And you
yeah,
can't really put a value like it's hard to say. It's like Sunday when Urban Camp Weekend is over, between Sunday and the next Sunday, for those next 7 days, I'm going to get a lot of feedback on the event, be it text messaging,
yeah,
phone calls, social media. And you'll typically see all the pictures, people posting, having a good time. I had a blast. That's success for me. On the flip side, out of every 1,000 persons, there's gonna be one person just like, it was cool, but I'm never
nobody's
coming
not
back.
gonna
Uh, It's like
right. You're gonna have
it was
that.
too
You're
cold, it
gonna
was
have
too
that.
hot, or I'm good on that. It was one and done. Cool, but success is if you actually enjoy the product. There's no I don't there's that's how I define it, Like for example, we're in my home, this is my office. I don't We've won a lot of awards, accolades. I have none of them in here. I'm not a big trophy person. My college diploma is somewhere still in the original container in my mom's house somewhere. I don't care to have
Gotcha.
that framed on the wall. You and I, before we started, we were talking about our kids, right?
Right,
And birthdays and stuff like that. My daughter's birthday is
right.
in 8 days, according to her, right? And so, um, I don't I value I don't get into the large party stuff. Now, her mom is always going to make sure she does certain things, but me, I'm just like, all right, baby, your birthday's coming up. Anything you want? And she's usually like,
Yeah.
not really, because we do stuff every day. There's not something that she probably doesn't have, and she's not really into a lot of the material things. I try to give her more experiences, which is how I live my
That's
life.
me.
We do
Exactly.
experiences. But on the flip
It's kinda
side,
back to what I was telling you about my kid, how
yeah,
we overdid
which
it.
is awesome.
So, it was 'cause of
But
experiences.
but but let me tell you. So the funny part is when you mentioned Disneyland earlier, I said, I'm not spending that much money until she's like in second or third grade. I need you to remember every dime that I spend at Disneyland, Disney World, like because I. Do you really remember
Yeah.
first grade like that? Like some of the stuff?
Mm. See, you have those moments, alright, I think we have those moments of let me see, first you know what? I remember 1st and 2nd grade was kinda pivotal moments in my life for me,
Yeah.
so that was kind of my pivot, it was my first pivot in life,
Okay.
1st and 2nd so I kinda remember those because of my friends. So, like, so if you look on the podcast, the guy, my guy Richard from Wall Street
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
East Texas to Wall Street, that was one of my first friends from 1st to 2nd grade.
Right.
So we've been friends ever since, and we grew up playing little league baseball together. So after 2nd grade, I moved across town, and we didn't go to school no more.
Yeah.
And and pretty much our life just went separate school to school to school, and we didn't become, like, really kick it again or really reintroduce ourselves to our senior year because it was the last year that I could play baseball, and I went back. They kinda all talked me to go back to play baseball my senior year.
Dope.
And then after that, we all went to college, and, everybody went to college separate. So
That's
those are the things that what I remember because the people certain things we did in those things will last, but besides
No,
that,
and the reason why I can relate to that is because I was born in Frankfurt, Germany, right? My mother was in
yeah,
the military. So I remember moving. So I remember my
that
memory is based on what house I was in at that time.
the pivot, something happened. Yeah,
So I moved in full time with my mom in second grade. So I remember second grade. But I also
yeah,
remember being at my grandma's house in South Carolina. And I remember certain things there.
yeah,
But like my real
exactly. You have
memory kicks
certain memories.
in second and third grade. Like I could tell you every girl I've dated from second grade on. Like Natasha and Tammy was second grade, Chanel Nolan was third grade. I could go through, like I remember that stuff, right?
Gotcha.
But I'm not spending thousands of dollars until my daughter could remember every inch of Disneyland, Disney World. You're not getting these Disney bucks until you can remember. I'm not like, no, we're not doing that. When we look through my phone, she likes looking at old videos of when she was a baby, right? Even
Yeah,
6 years old, but she's like, I want to see when I was a baby. Like, you're still a baby. But anyway, I show her videos. She enjoys seeing it. She has no recollection of any of that, as she shouldn't, right? But I'm like, baby, this one was like last year. Like, you don't remember this? Okay. Note to self.
that's funny. That's funny that you said that because that's what I do with him right now. I go back and show him the videos from those 4 to 5 years of his life already, and he's looking like, "What?" He's like, I was like, "Yeah, this you gotta go back and because 'cause you're not." We didn't get those
Not at
opportunities,
all.
right? We didn't get those. We can't go back and watch videos or see the pictures on the time of moments of what we did
No.
because it was non-existent
Yeah. Or
unless
we didn't have
somebody
the
had a
money. Our parents have the
big
money to have them
camcorder or something.
cameras. Yeah. We
Exactly.
weren't the
And
Kennedys,
nobody that
you know.
yeah. And then yeah, so that's one thing, but I hope you do remember that because he has a one story where, you know, those cherry clans,
Yeah.
those red cherry clan balls, and they kinda almost like they look like gumballs. They call it like gumdrops or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
whatever. And I had bought some, and we had bought some,
He's not
and
gonna
there
remember
was,
any of that, but go ahead.
and he was in a stroller, in the Mickey Mouse stroller, and when it was coming out. So in Disneyland, when you go to Disneyland in LA, it got 2 parks, one on one side and one on the other side. And so when we come on, coming out, he's rolling in it. And, I didn't know that he had been just stealing the candy, the gumdrops. He was sitting in the stroller just
Down on him.
down and didn't know, and we didn't know. So we pushing, and all we see is here project like, so he's sticking his feet into the wheel on, like, trying to stick his foot into the wheel, and I guess his foot hit it right. All we see him is project out of it like a stunt double, like, project out of the flies. This sucker flies and hit a stunt roll like
Lord.
that. He is a roll, gets up, and take off running. Like, full nonstop, and we're like we froze just like you did. Cause there's
Uh
people around us walking, and we pushing him, we just see him fly out and hit a stunt roll and gets up and takes off running, and we're like, "What is going on?"
yeah. We're like, I promise you we're not unfit parents here. I promise you we're not unfit.
Dude, and he was on a sugar high. He didn't even realize what he had happened to him. He was on a full
He was
sugar
on that
high,
candy dust.
and we had to bruh, and we talking about, like, we froze and we had to go chase him down. So, those one of those moments. So, hey, you
He ain't gonna remember. He ain't gonna remember any of that. He ain't gonna remember.
hey, Disneyland may be worth it, man.
Yeah. He ain't gonna remember that. But no,
But,
but to get
yeah,
back to your question, success is hard, right? Because as you grow in business, and I'm sure you can relate to this, you start to pivot into fields that you didn't really know 5 years ago you were going to even evolve into. So you start trying something different, right? Just like this podcast. When you go back and look 5 years from now, you're like, man, like, look at what I was doing back then. And I got my own network, blah, blah, blah thing or something.
yeah,
You don't realize during the process until you look back at it, you know?
yeah, that's
So
that
it's really hard. And
what I hear you saying is your freedom. I hear freedom.
that's it.
That's the word I
Yeah.
hear. The freedom to be able to do as you go through whatever you choose to do with your time.
There you go.
Your time is success to you. You enjoy whatever time and the freedom of your time to be able to use it as you
There
choose.
you go.
That is I like that. That's a major key of success for me. So, like, for the podcast of the Power of the People show, one of the things of the show is where to give back keys of success from different lines of business as like almost like a mentor
Mhm.
journeyship, right? A digital mentorship. So when you said like 5 years ago, when we started, when I started this whole thing, I started this as a digital magazine, an opportunity for us like-minded success or people, young people or less unfortunate people with the keys, to be able to get the success and give it back as we going through our journey or people that are going through there, just be able to give that back. So 5 years ago, it was an idea. So think about it, it was an idea. Everybody that's prior to you or besides the initial Miss Maya Woods, she would say, make sure I say Cadiz. That was the 5 year journey. The guys that came prior to, they started that journey with me as a magazine, as a interview. I did a that was just as a magazine. So looking back 5 years, I started it and stepped away. Now coming back 5 years later, and I did it like what you're saying, created that little network or a little media outlet for this in order to give back to people because I thought it was an opportunity to get the success back to people. And here we are, 5 years later. That journey to see, as you
And
said,
you don't
it's
even
so
realize because like 5 years ago was the pandemic, right? 2020, that's the pandemic, where
exactly.
just for the sake of your viewers who may watch this 3, 4 years from now, right now it's 2025. So 5 years ago was the pandemic, 2020, right?
Right.
That's just so to put it in perspective in case they're watching this at a different time, right? And so the pandemic was a rough time to start anything, but it was the best time to start a lot of things, right? Because you had the attention of millions of people that are sitting at home that can just do nothing but scroll through their phone, be on their phone all day. They're not outside. So many businesses took off, many of them failed at the same time. It was very trying times. Like I remember March of 2020 because between March and April, I had to give about $320,000 of refunds. So I remember March of 2020 because I had a lot of
That's a
people's
lot.
money. Yeah, we had to cancel some events and people want their money back. So
Hmm.
I have to go through and click refund, 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 refund. Keep in mind, I don't have all their money in the same account that their money came into because when the money
Right.
comes into that account,
Business.
I have to take that same money and send it to the hotels, to all the people that I have to pay money to. You got to keep in mind,
Right.
I got to put deposits down. I got 50,000 owed to this hotel, 40,000 to this tour guide. So all the money I'm refunding, I haven't even been refunded my money back. So
Right.
I'm sending them all their money back with the hopes that the companies I sent money to will send me my money back fast enough. If not, I have to pull money out of my personal savings to make sure people get paid until I get reimbursed. Right. And so, but then after that happened and we were clear, the pandemic was a vacation for your boy. I was like, well, shit, I'm gonna do. There was a few events I could still do. Did those events, and I was chilling. Like I sat down for about a year and a half almost of just chilling. So it was just you use those times to try to pivot and see where the world is going. And when the world is moving at a very fast pace, you just got to stay on top. It's like fishing. You got to keep chasing the
Yeah.
fish. So yeah,
What was one of the toughest lesson during those times that you learned? I mean, what was something that you think you learned through the pandemic? As far as the businesses you're in, it's just been a business and an entrepreneur. That's gotta be tough. As an entrepreneur, you got a business, depends on people, right? As far as your events and whatever you put things together. What's something you learned from that, though?
I learned
It's
that
gotta be a lot.
I
Opportunities.
learned that it was I don't know if I learned anything. It was a reminder that you should always be ready to pivot. A friend of mine he does custom suits, right?
Yeah.
Very successful company, does custom suits for a lot of athletes. It's called Reveal Suits. It's an awesome company, Reveal Suits. Carlton Dixon. We went to college together. Wonderful entrepreneur. He has great contacts with manufacturers abroad. And one of the things they did was they transitioned and started importing like masks and all the what's it called, all the stuff that nurses and stuff needed. They already had relationships, and
Hold on one second, one
right,
second. I don't know if we
it's still good on my side.
yeah. Can you see me? Am I moving?
Yeah, 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 yeah. It didn't freeze over here. It never froze. You're good.
Alright, nah, my bad, I apologize.
No,
Nah, okay, it was
but
great. I think it,
but My
It's
boy
kinda yeah, go ahead.
Carlton Dixon with Reveal Suits, they had relationships in China. So part of his pivot, even though his business was still successful, they were able to import a lot of the medical stuff and masks that people were needing from China. And they were able to create a company on the drop of a dime and start selling
Nice.
that. So it was a reminder. I don't know if I learned a lot, but it reminded me to always be able to pivot and transition and adapt to the environment that's being put in front of you at all
Gotcha.
times.
It made you be more adjustable and adaptable. Adaptability.
Absolutely.
Is that what you're getting at? Adaptability?
Yeah, because I mean, you can't predict something like the pandemic, but you have to understand. I'm a realist. I understand the type of business I'm in. That travel business is not a need. It's not food, water, or shelter. So if you're not selling food, water, or shelter, your
Okay.
business isn't really that necessary. All people need to survive is food, water, and shelter.
Wow.
So whatever it is you're selling, the world can do without. And I never not remembered that. You know what I mean? Like I know you don't have to buy anything I'm selling right now. The
Right.
only thing that people like, I have an RV park in East Texas. So those people
Okay.
who pay monthly to
Hold
be
on,
there,
what's the name? Go to plug that in. What's the name of it?
Twisted
Don't
Pines,
don't don't skip
my
you
bad,
look, you skipping by a lot, you
my
just
bad, my bad.
skipping stones.
So Twisted Pines RV Park in East Texas, right? Those people, which I did not own at the time, I bought that during the pandemic. I bought that during the pandemic, but that's something that people that they're staying month to month, which what a lot of people don't realize, a lot of our
Yeah.
parks, those people stay there month to month. So we have people that have been there for 2, 3, 4 years. So they're paying 4, 5, 6, 7, $800 a month to stay there. So that's a
Yeah.
need. But the racetrack that we own, Lone Star Speedway, that's not a need. Even though if you do research on like pandemics or Great Depressions in the US, people will still spend money on alcohol and entertainment, right?
Always. People are gonna always spend it on entertainment because you need that. It's kinda life. It's a
Right.
life source.
Yeah. However, you still have to have a heart to heart with yourself and just know they don't have to have that. So if you're selling something that people don't have to have, you better have some good reserves or have a different business that offsets that's not correlated with what you're currently doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So how you make this whole thing work, man? I guess that's my thing. How you make this work? Everything. So you say you have the so you say you got the park and you have this racetrack?
Lone Star Speed.
The name of
Mhm.
the name of the park is again
So
Twisted.
Twisted Pines RV Park, and then we have Lone Star Speedway Racetrack, which is a outdoor stadium, um, actual racetrack like NASCAR, sprint car type racetrack, 8,000 person stadium. So it's an actual.
Yeah,
It sits on about 55 acres of land. But on that property, on the other side is the RV park, and then on the other side is a barn dominium, like a two-story barn dominium, which is basically
yeah,
like a two-story house with a big garage attached to it,
yeah.
but they call it a barn dominium, country
Gotcha.
stuff. You get it. But it's
Shots
yeah,
fired.
no, not
Gotcha.
like you do get it
Go
though,
ahead.
in a good way. No, that shows range. I'm showing the people
No, I got
your
you.
range, right? You got good, you got good little country spirit in you, But how do we make it work? So I say we because Urban Events Global is just me. The racetrack, the Barn Dominium RV Park is an investment group that I put together where I'm the majority owner of, but I
Gotcha.
do 99% of the work on it. How do I make it work? I don't know, man. I'll be honest with you. You try to delegate as much as possible. When it comes to Urban
Yeah.
Events Global, I do have a small team of people that work for me and work with me. Ashley Neal, I couldn't be as successful as I've been over the last 10, 11 years without Ashley.
That's my dog.
Yeah,
I
like
like that.
Ashley's like, put it this way, she's in my will. That's how much I love Ashley. Real talk.
Yeah.
She's in
Nice.
my trust. Like if something happens to me, her, Bert Byron, they all control the trust of everything that goes to my daughter when I die. That's how much I believe in Ashley. You see what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
That's real.
She's a good person. Yeah.
Wonderful
Yeah.
person.
Ashley's a wonderful
She's
person.
I don't like to say this a lot, but she's one of the smaller beneficiaries of my life insurance policy. That's how much I fool with her on my team. That's just facts. She has copies of all this stuff. All my friends that control, if something happens to me,
Hey, man.
they have a copy of it.
Now look, you don't put no dot on my friend.
Right, right, right. Hey, you can only
You putting a
you
target
can
on
only
it. Don't
here
put that target on it
here's the
like
key.
that.
Here's the key. Only put people in your will that that either have a lot to lose or have more money than you.
Hey,
Like two of the three people that are in my will all have more money than me. So I'm
yeah.
not worried. I'm not
I'm
worried about
saying
them.
that. Don't put that target on it.
Yeah, I'm
Somebody,
not worried. I'm not
because
worried
people are
about
gonna
them.
look it up and gonna be like looking for it. No,
Yeah,
no.
yeah. They're like,
Actually
do
good
not
people.
resuscitate. You know,
Yeah.
but no. How do I make it work on the Urban Events Global side? Ashley and a team of collective people, they make sure that that stuff is running. I mean, I'm still answering the calls, the emails. It's busy. It's a lot. It can be overwhelming. I would tell people don't jump into entrepreneurship. Like don't do it. Like if you have a
You
corp,
would tell people that? Or
yeah.
what would you tell
Let me
people
finish.
why they should?
Let me
Why
finish.
they should and what's a good reason to?
No, no,
Not to,
no.
but
Watch
why
this.
they should.
Watch this. Hear me out. Do not jump into entrepreneurship.
Oh, I got you.
Ease yourself into entrepreneurship.
Parachute into it.
Don't- you- Slowly walk into it. So,
Gotcha.
like,
What do you mean by that?
so
Yeah. What do you mean by that?
I didn't quit corporate America and start a company.
Gotcha.
I was in corporate America and I was running at towards the end of my career. I'd already been running my business for about 4 years before I left.
Okay.
So by the time I left, I was already profitable, making money
That's kinda I hear you. So you were saying you was using your career
to fund
to
to
fund
fund
your business in order and fund your dream as well, fund your
exactly. Because
vision.
as an adult, as a grown man, as a grown human, you have bills to pay. And as long as you have bills to pay, you're susceptible to those bills. So if you're an entrepreneur and there's no one to cover your bills, you're going to make bad business decisions because you have bills to pay. You're just running from check
Gotcha.
to check. I could be more strategic with my business decisions because I have money coming in over here regardless. I didn't leave corporate America until I knew I could sustain my lifestyle with my business. And by that time, my business was
Okay.
already going. So, it wasn't like I had a spouse or somebody there to like, if this fails, they're still going to cover my bills. No, no, no. I'm
Yeah.
responsible for everything. If I don't have any money coming in, besides going back to my mom's house, I was going to be struggling. So I
Right.
basically, those last 4 years of corporate America, I was tired. And so basically I got to the point to where something had to give. And then I let America go and I passed the baton and spent to myself to spend more time working on my own business and growing it from X amount per year to this amount per year.
So what I nice, I like that. I like how you explained that. So what I hear is that decided you made a decision at some point that you needed to invest back into yourself. You needed to invest more into yourself,
Yeah.
in order to is that what I'm
Yeah.
hearing?
Yeah. And your body will tell you when because it's unhealthy, right? If you're working 40, 50 hours a week in corporate America, and then let's say you get off at 5, 6 o'clock, and then you're spending the next 3 hours, 4 hours returning phone calls and working on your own business, you're not going to bed until late at night, early in the morning. You're not sleeping well. You're forgetting to eat. You're not eating well. You're just
Yeah,
grind. At some point, your body
grinding.
is going to be like, yo, you got to switch something up. I'm hurting.
But it's worth it though, initially. You gotta put that work in, that grind, right? Are you
Yeah.
saying that or no?
Yeah. No, it's absolutely worth it, but your health is your wealth. You can't what good is money if you're in the hospital?
Can't spend it, right? What's good
You
is you
can't
can't spend
spend
it.
it. Like what good is it's like people that want to wait to travel until they get old. You really want to travel old? Like it's I've seen old people travel. That's not fun.
It's not comfortable
It's
for them
not
either.
comfortable.
Hey, they be like, "I'm trying to relax," and they don't be relaxing.
To be heard and it's like I got to walk up these stairs. I got to do what? Nah, you need to travel now. When you get old, just go sit on the rocking chair and just have all the memories of the old days.
So what made you determine, When did you know it was time to jump, man? I mean,
Oh, no, no.
besides,
Oh, I knew
when did you know it was time to drop?
I was
Like,
tired. I told you I was tired. I was in Austin at the time. I was in Austin for 10 months to help this company with some private equity stuff they were working on. They moved me down there. I was supposed to be there for like a year. But after 10 months, I was like, nope, I'm done. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. One, they didn't let me work from home, which I thought was insulting because as a vice
yeah.
president, I had two other counterparts, one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast. They worked.
How old was you then around that time?
This was 2016, what, 9 years ago, 46 months, about 35 ish. Or no, no, 37 ish. Yeah, like 37 ish. And it was an insult because we're getting paid the same. We all travel for work, but because I live in Austin where the headquarters was, you guys want me to put on a suit and tie and come into the office every day
Yeah.
to do what I could
And work
do
for
from
you.
home, which is make phone calls, schedule meetings, and then go fly out and see my clients. So you want me to drive 14 miles every day for no freaking reason, but my counterparts
So I
get to
can see
work
your
from home.
face.
So that was strike one.
Man,
Strike two is I love Austin. That's where I went to college. But as an adult, Austin's not for me. I need more culture, right? At
okay.
that age. So that was
Okay.
strike two. Strike three was I'm tired. I'm tired of playing these games when I'm already making six figures as an entrepreneur.
Gotcha.
And my lifestyle isn't that expensive. It looks like it is, but it doesn't cost me much to live. So I don't mind letting go of
Yeah.
half of my income in corporate America, letting go all that money and just living off of the little small six figures I was making in my personal life. I was
Yeah.
and I
Hold
didn't
on,
have a
hold on,
child.
hold on, hold on, hold on. Don't subtly small six figures.
Small. Six figures is a range, right?
I get you, but go ahead.
No, no. Six figures could be like 100,000 or
No, I hear you.
909,000.
I get the mindset. So that's how you can tell by the mindset. That's what I'm getting, but the mindset of a small six figure, but a lot of people that it's not just small, but I get the mindset where you're going. I love
Yeah.
it.
Well,
No, I actually love it. I'm just
I
messing with
got
you.
you.
Go ahead.
No, because keep in mind at that age with no kids, I had no kids. My vehicles were paid off. I didn't even have a car note and had two nice vehicles. You're making a decent, like, let's say a couple hundred to a few 100,000 in corporate America, a small, let's just say 100,000 as an entrepreneur. To let that amount of money go, it was an easy decision because what good is making all that money if you can't spend it?
I enjoy it. It's like
Same
you're going
thing.
to.
I couldn't enjoy it because as soon as I'm off of work, I have to start
You're
my
back.
corporate America work.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that a lot. I hear that a lot in the business world. Successful people, they talk about, the grind, the beginning of the grind. They love it. They love the beginning of the grind because they see those income coming in. It's a lot. I guess when you get into a level, yes, you enjoy seeing it all come in. At some point, it gotta turn to you, snap to you that it's got to be more than life than just this. Money is not everything.
Right.
I guess I'm one of those people that money ain't everything. I'm a minimalist. I like fine things. I like to have great things. Things look good and like to do whatever I want. Like you say, I define success with freedom, right? Opportunity to do as I choose to do with my time. Uh, flexibility. Flexibility to me is everything. I don't like you said, but
And
I'm just trying to figure
I'm a,
out
I'm
why
a
is it so
I'm a minimalist too.
some people will get stuck on that dollar,
Yeah,
but
I'm a minimalist, and don't get me wrong, I like making money, but I'm still a minimalist. Like you won't see a lot of decoration. Like, I mean, I have paintings on my wall, but they're actually like art of like my daughter or
exactly.
stuff that I got commissioned. Like I didn't go buy this. I got commissioned art where I paid the artist and I said, I want this. You know what I mean? But as far as having just random vases and stuff, if it doesn't serve a purpose, it's not in this house. It like, yeah, it's just
I like that. I
it,
like how you said
it's
that. It
not
needs
in.
to serve a true purpose, right? It needs to serve a
Yeah, I don't
purpose.
just do random decoration. No, everything in here is functional and it works. And I'm actually in the process of, I really want to move and get something smaller because you and I were talking earlier, not to get too much personal, but like you said something that I can relate to. And you said you don't even go upstairs in your own home unless you really have to. I don't either.
Right.
Like I don't,
It's pointless.
I've got this fitted sheet that goes on the bedroom upstairs that I've been waiting to take upstairs. And so I set it, I didn't want to go upstairs. So I set it on the bottom step and said, when I go upstairs, I'll take it up next time I go up. It's been sitting there for 2 weeks.
No, I feel you.
I
No, no.
haven't had a reason to go upstairs in 2 weeks.
Listen, I'm the same way right now. I got this projector that I took it down so we can watch the game in the backyard. And so I got something new that I needed to put into the theater room. But ever since I took that projector down, I haven't put that, and that's been like going on 3 months. And it's just, and I'm like, I need to go put this back up so we could use if
I get it.
somebody want to watch it.
Honestly want to by minimalist. I honestly want to go back into living in a
Down.
like a mid rise or a condo with like 2.5 bedrooms or something, or maybe just 2 bedrooms. As a new dad, and by new I mean our kids are the same age. My daughter's about to go up in age here in a little bit, but I didn't know what I didn't know. Right, I'm still learning as well. So I thought, well, it'd be cool to let her have her own room, playroom, and then have her own upstairs, and then I can have this space for my mom when she comes in town. And I'm like,
Yeah.
man, 90% of the time, this isn't even being used. And I'm just spending
No.
money that doesn't need to be like I could reduce my expenses by maybe 2,000 a month. And that's like two more investment properties, right? I start doing
I
the
think
math.
that's a good way to look at it because as been a minimalist myself, I always talk about downside.
Mhm,
You work hard. I always say people work people pay to go to school, to get letters, to get degrees,
mhm,
to do all these things so we can make so much money, right? We do all of that, then we grind it out, do all of these things just to get to that. Come to find out, it's more of the things that we're interested in, that we enjoy, that really that at the end of the day, they usually make us the most profitable things or fun things after we done went those routes, right? We go back to that. It's like the circle of life, right? We come back
mhm,
to those creative things or those fun things that we enjoyed initially, right? So when you're talking about downside, I always talk about like, man, if I knew what I knew now,
mhm,
at 19, or coming right out of college, if I just had a little of those tools or those sources, I would take that opportunity to grind those first 4, 5 years as a minimalist.
yeah,
As a minimalist. We had those, back, I guess, at those time, rent was cheap, right?
yeah,
Rent was super cheap and whatever. After the economy, I mean, I guess, pandemic and all those things just shot up, right? About 2015, all of those things, right? But I'm just like when we just got right into our like professional life, started to get into the professional life, right? If you could just think about it. If everything was like it is now, like so you can get a gym membership, you can go work out,
yeah,
shower, whatever. I always make this joke about getting like a U-Haul storage place to go put a bed in there, stay in the storage unit, go park your car somewhere, go shower. You got, like you say, everything. We use our phone to Wi-Fi or internet, right? You got your phone for you can watch TV, anything and everything. You don't need cable anymore, right? We don't even have to have cable, right? As long as you got that, you got YouTube. You got all the apps you want, right? All of those to minimize that to save money in order to give you more flexibility.
mhm.
And I think it all comes back. And I think that is what really drives success, actually.
You have to be able to sacrifice, right? Like, so,
It's a
so
sacrifice.
I graduated college and then I stayed in Austin for a year. Then I moved to Dallas. And for the first 10 months in Dallas, I lived with two of my chapter brothers, Marcus and Devin. And we lived downtown Dallas, right by the uh 7-Eleven headquarters, City Place Tower.
City place,
Yeah.
yeah.
The City Place. And so
Place nice.
I they were already in a 2 bedroom, 2 bath. And I told them I was moving to Dallas. And they said, listen, you could just come stay with us and then we'll try to find like a big 3 bedroom or something like that. But for
Yeah.
10 months, I slept on the couch, but they didn't have a couch. So I slept on my own couch that I brought up there.
Yeah.
And then
Put things
and I
together.
was like, this is kind of uncomfortable. So I just started sleeping on the floor. Like I would make a big pallet on the floor. And for 10 months, and I didn't even realize it was 10 months because I was so comfortable and I cared less. Like I didn't care. But I'm waking up, throwing on a suit and tie. Evan and I we'd walk to City Place. He worked for 7-Eleven. He still works for 7-Eleven 20 some years later. He still works for 7-Eleven Corporation. We'd walk there, the dark train is at the bottom of that building. So I'd walk down the
Yeah.
stairs, I'd dap up my boy. All right, brother, see you. I get on the train and I would go to Bank of America, which was at 901 Main Street. The tallest building in
Yep.
Dallas is Bank of America.
Yeah.
And I worked on the 30 something floor, something like that for the bank and the private bank. And that was my routine. We were still able to kick it, party, invite folks over. And it's funny because girls would be like, so where's your room? I'm like, we're sitting in it, right? We're sitting in my, what do you mean? I stay right here in the living room. That's Devon's room. That's Marcus's
What
room.
we
And
need.
when all y'all leave, I'm gonna be right here on this couch. Like, what you mean?
Yeah.
My closet is in. Devin had extra space in his closet, so my clothes were in his closet. But Marcus's bathroom was the one that you could enter through the hallway. So I
Yeah.
would use it. It worked for us. I didn't care. Like I said, when I was a minimalist, as a minimalist, I was just trying to get to the money. Fortunately, and my frat brothers, man, Marcus and Devin, they didn't charge me rent. They knew where I was financially. They were just like, when we would go out, they didn't make it uneasy. They would like kind of pay for certain things. And it's not like any of us had a lot of money, but we were doing okay. But
What's
I'll
up?
forever be in debt to those two guys because that 10 months allowed me to really get stable and settle, man. And so you have to be able to humble yourself and make stuff shake. And it's the
Yeah.
same thing in business. You have to make decisions that are for the greater good because there are things that you may want to say and do. Like, for example, I don't believe the customer's always right. So
Okay.
sometimes I have to limit my responses to certain people and I've told some customers like, I don't care what you're talking about. You're wrong. Like you're simply wrong. This isn't corporate America anymore where I have to put up with what you're saying to me. I don't, I
Yeah.
don't care if you never attend another event. I don't care about your bad review. I don't care. You're wrong. And I'm
So what make you think what made you get to that point?
freedom. You said it earlier, freedom, the freedom to say and do as I please. There's a reason why I named all my businesses very like Urban Events Global, Urban Camp Weekend, Black Travel Tube. But you're gonna know this is a black company. There's no, I'm not trying to switch. I'm not trying to. We have all,
Unapologetically.
yeah, unapologetically. We have everybody that comes to my events, but it's 99.9% African American.
So what make you wanna do you like that? Sorry about that. You catering, is that a big emphasis of yours that you,
I just want to be comfortable.
are just given
I just want to be comfortable. I want to
yeah.
hang out with the people I want to hang out with.
What do you think about that though, in corporate America, you having a code switch and we having to adjust to that?
We've done it our whole lives. In our age bracket, we've done it our whole lives. It's slightly different nowadays. Like I've noticed that I've seen people in corporate spaces with dreadlocks and with beards and stuff that would never fly when I was coming through. We had to be suits and ties and clear cut. I don't give it a lot of thought. I understand it. Just like our ancestors are like, yes, boss, no sir, yes sir, and shucking and jiving for the man, like Bojangles and shit. Like it's getting better for us. I think this younger generation, they're doing it right. Not the ones on the internet, but the ones that are really doing the good, not the goofies on the internet, but the real 19-year-olds to 30-year-olds that are really making great, great, great
Yeah.
strides, and they're doing it right, and they're showing the world. We open the door for them. They're coming through, just like doors were open for us. Code switching it's necessary. I think there's a certain decorum, when it comes to business. Code switching isn't bad. For example, if you and I are out drinking and kicking it or doing something, and you're like, "Hey, y'all come back to my house, but hey, my mom's here and my family's here." All right, bet.
Yeah.
All right, shit, let me.
It's a
All right,
different lane of
yeah.
code
How
switching,
you
a
doing,
different
Miss
type of
So and
code
so?
switching.
Like, hey, nice to meet you. But I'm trying my best to not let her smell the alcohol in my breath or slur my words, or because that's your mother, bro. That's your family.
Yeah.
If I'm around your kids, I'm gonna make sure I'm watching. Kids soak up everything. I don't want your son to be
Definitely.
like,
Yeah.
"Well, daddy's friend said this and that," so I could say, "No." Just like when you're around my daughter, watch your mouth. Watch what you're
Yeah.
saying around
Because
my
I can't
child.
can't trust you to be around certain people that
Yeah, yeah, I
influence
need you to
you.
code switch, like,
Yeah.
because I want my daughter to see daddy's friends for this. Now, when as she gets to know you and you're over at the house more and she sees you dap daddy up, "Oh, what up, fam?" She can see all that, but still watch the words that come out of your mouth because I want her to understand two sides.
Sure.
So code switching isn't just shucking and jiving for the man. Code switching is understanding the environment you're in and adjusting in a respectful fashion. When I walk into your family's house, you're like, "Hey, Kevin, if you're in East Texas, come to my family reunion." Cool. I'm gonna shake everybody's hand. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. So and so. I'm gonna introduce myself. If it's your wife,
Yeah,
I'm gonna be respectful. That doesn't mean when we get to the spades or dominoes table, I ain't gonna. I'm gonna switch to a different code at that point.
I've
But only after I see if your family's on that type of time, well, then we on that type of time.
like
You
that.
adjust to your environment. Code switching, is it code switching or are you adjusting to the environment to get the desired result that you want?
Yeah.
As a traveler, and I'm sorry, I just be talking, but as
No, you
somebody
good.
who travels from country to country, right? When I'm in Dubai, when I'm in South Africa, most of these people speak two, three, four languages, right? So
Yeah.
I understand that English is your second language, maybe your third language. So I have to code switch to use different words. I can't use the same slang that we use in America because you're taking the English words literally.
The way that they use the words, the
The right.
language.
Yeah, I can't be like, I'm gonna use something simple. Like if I say, "What's up?" They may be like they might be looking up like, oh, like they're
Like,
looking
what's
like, what,
really
or
up
what
for
is
you?
up?
So
You know what I mean? Or like, "Ah, man, you crazy." They're like, they give you that smile like, "No, I'm serious. I'm not crazy."
no.
It's little things where when I look at my clients and as they're communicating or as they're ordering food, I can say that waiter didn't. When you say hold the onions, that doesn't translate. You have to tell
Yeah.
them literally, "I don't want onions, no onions on this." If you say hold the onions, they're like, oh, they're gonna bring it to you in a side dish. Like, oh, you want the onions separately.
So in your line of business, in America, how do you handle that? Guess initially you had to play the game, right? I
Mhm,
guess you had to initially do that because you didn't necessarily own your own grounds,
mhm.
right? Your own campgrounds, and you had to get with those guys. How was that, man? I guess as an entrepreneur and I guess as a young black owner, businessman, mentally, how do you deal with that behind doors?
Yeah, you just laugh. We haven't spent a lot of times like just out kicking it. I find a lot of stuff funny, bro. Like
Yeah,
you either laugh or you cry.
gotcha.
Two
'Cause
emotions.
that's important. Because a lot of people don't know how to handle situations. I think that'll be a you could have a great insight due to the lane that you are in,
Yeah,
and that's not a normal lane that people look like us are in that
I
lane, and
expect
I may not know that.
I expect a certain level of racism from people. I expect a certain level of classism from certain people. I expect a certain level of ignorance from people. So when you mentally go in prepared for certain things, you don't react. We had an event at the racetrack in July a couple months ago, and I was work I was working the parking lot. And so that means I'm helping them collect money. The people that are driving, they don't know that the owner of everything they see is me that's literally just collecting money. They don't know that. And they're complaining about the long lines of waiting to get in. And one guy was in a truck. He was sitting in the back seat and he said something smart
Yeah,
or something to me. And I just kind of laughed it off. He was like, "So who owns this place anyway?" And I was kind of like, "Me." He was like, "Oh, you're full of blah, blah, blah." And I just smiled like, "You're right." And it's just like, come on. I don't care because you still paid me, you know? And it kind of goes back to something I think Floyd Mayweather or somebody said before, whether you love me or hate me, you still like whether you want to see me lose or win, you still paid to see the fight,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
Floyd,
some people
yeah,
would pay to see him win, others would pay to see him lose, but you still paid him.
yeah, exactly. You
That's all
paid
it
for the
is. You
product.
still paying. And so I honestly don't want certain audiences to know what I own or that I own this or that. I don't even promote some stuff on my own personal page because I know when people really want to attack you, they're going to attack the things that you own. And then
Yeah,
they're going to go after your sponsors and all that. But if you don't know what I own, you can't really attack what you don't know. You know what I mean?
gotcha.
Like when
Yep.
when Kanye goes out and says some wild stuff on the internet, they go straight to his sponsors. You get dropped. When Tiger Woods, which he shouldn't have got dropped, but when Tiger Woods got into his situations, they started
Oh,
they
man.
started dropping him for what?
He didn't do nothing.
Yeah, yeah,
He just tried to get out the house.
yeah. It's trying to get it, had to quench his thirst a little bit. So it's
Yeah,
like, so you got to be careful when you give people too much information because you're telling them how to attack you, right?
Gotcha.
Unless
Yeah.
you put yourself in a position where you're uncancelable, like for example, Dave Chappelle or even Kanye, or some people are
You
just
bringing up some good points, though. I like where you're going with this.
yeah.
Yeah.
Some people you just can't cancel. Dave Chappelle, you can't cancel him. He's going to be a cultural icon forever. Uh, uh, Donald Trump, you can't cancel. You can't cancel him. He's going to have 70 million people that like him regardless.
I don't care what he say.
And he's going to have 70 million people that hate him regardless. Pick any president, pick any
Yeah.
president. Trump, Biden, Obama, Bush, Clinton, Reagan. You got 70 to 80 million people that voted for you or that like you,
Yeah.
and 70, 80 million that hate your guts. And that's the president of the United States.
You know what?
So who am I?
I think yeah.
Who am I?
You getting there though. When you get to a point when you know, like how you say that, but and it comes down to when you know who you are, it doesn't really matter
Yeah.
because when you know who you are and you're gonna have that maybe if it's get bad, you could probably have that little downturn. But eventually, just think about Chris Brown. Same thing, Chris Brown. Eventually, those sayers go away. If you just keep
But you
chopping at
also
the wood.
you also have
They
to
just keep
understand.
chopping at it, but it's the people that get discouraged and quit.
Let's use Chris Brown for an example. Society has selective outrage. If you still want to judge Chris Brown on something that we still don't know all the facts about that happened, I don't know, 20 years, I don't know, whenever that Rihanna is, that was years ago. But yet you support all these other musicians that are that have been a part of domestic violence or done all these bad things, but you want to use
Right.
that. It's like, come on, which one is it? Or
It's
or or
crazy.
even let's use Trump for example. And you could bleep this if you want, but we were going through like the Me Too movement as a society, right? But if women can excuse a man running for president that says, "Oh, you could just grab him by the pussy," and still vote for that man during the Me Too movement when women are being disrespected, but you could be like, "Oh, that's just locker room talk." That's
Uh,
choose a side now. He's there's more to he was thinking more than what he said right there. But you're
man,
but you're gonna allow
you a
him to
terrorist.
but you're like, oh, I can excuse that. People pick and choose what they can excuse. R. Kelly. R. Kelly, we knew who R. Kelly was years before he got put in jail, but people still gonna step in the name of love. Are they not still gonna step? I heard R. Kelly music the other day. He's still one of the most talented songwriters ever.
You're right. They play the music, they are to that
How can
count.
you
You have a
cheer?
point.
How can you cheer for
But so when you say that's selective, I get it.
it's
I
selective
get it.
power? How could you
It
let
is.
me
It
ask you
is.
this. How could you not like for example, a lot of Democrats don't like Fox News, right? But you'll watch Fox Sports.
A lot of and well, the
It's
deal is they don't like Fox News, but we watch the local Fox News.
yeah, or but you'll watch Fox
We don't
Sports.
watch the
You'll watch your
we don't
favorite
watch the
NFL, NBA
yeah, you
team
watch
on
Fox
Fox.
Sports. But I get you, but you're just saying you're not fully outraged with the company or what they stand for. You're choosing what you stand for with
That's
certain
why
things.
I don't put a lot of
Is
faith
that what
in
you
so these same
yeah,
people that are confused in their own heads, why would I listen to their thoughts when I already
right.
know you don't even believe in half the stuff. You're just
You don't believe in the stuff that you're saying that you believe.
yeah. So I don't take
Yeah,
I don't I don't absorb what's happening around me, if that makes sense. Whether it's good or
gotcha.
bad, I listen to everything.
Did you have to did you have to practice? I mean, was that
No, you
I
just
mean, because I know initially I don't well, I guess, well, with your professional background, that's the one thing that probably stuck with you as you're going into entrepreneurship, right? As a
yeah.
but I know it could have probably been kinda difficult though, but when because you started on your own business and you started getting you having to deal with the no's or the attitudes personally up front, and it falls on you, right?
Everything is always gonna
And
fall on you as
it's
an
not
entrepreneur.
going on someone else, right?
Yeah, everything's always gonna fall on you as an entrepreneur. So you have to take the good with the bad, right? So it's kind of hard to get too excited when you know in 3 or 4 days you're gonna get an email about some complaint about something. So
Right.
you have to take the good with the bad and just know I kind of just stay even
Feel
kill. I don't get too excited. I don't get too down. I don't really get down in general. I get annoyed at some things. I may get frustrated or like, damn, like, why did they do that? Like, that's not fair. There's been people that have stolen money or people that have like backed out of contracts. And it's like, man, do I sue this person? Is it worth the time? Or you just take it and just be like, keep it moving. And for the most part, for some of them, we just took it on the chin and kept moving. Like, okay, that's 4,000 gone. I would spend 8,000 trying to get 4,000 back from somebody who might not have the 4,000, you know?
Gotcha.
And then you have to understand like, civil litigation from a law perspective. When you start owning your own businesses, you're going to be in lawsuits every year of your life, pretty much.
So what would you say as if you have to give 3 adjectives?
I told you before we
If you could
started,
describe yourself, 3 adjectives.
I told
Describe
you,
yourself
see, no,
and
no, no.
3.
I told you before we got started, I said, I don't care what we talk about, but if you're going to ask me a question I got to think about,
Yeah, you're gonna
go
that's
ahead. No,
kinda
go ahead. I knew you're
it's
going to
on
do,
the
I knew you're
here
going
we
to do that.
go.
Come on.
Give me 3 adjectives to describe yourself, if you could describe yourself and describe your strengths.
Three, describe myself independent. And I would say that because I'm an only child. My mom was a single parent mom in the army. So I woke up to an empty house and came home to an empty house like every day. So I woke me up to go to school, ate breakfast, locked the door. I was a real latchkey kid, right? So
Your only child?
yeah,
You're the
yeah,
only
yeah.
okay,
And I
okay.
did that all throughout. Even when I went off to college, I was in a one-bedroom apartment in Austin, Texas. Imagine sending your kid with a car to Austin, Texas in a one-bedroom apartment at a school like University of Texas and expecting them to not flunk out of school. Yeah, but it wasn't hard, and I pledged that year too. I pledged my freshman year, but so independent, focus. Is that the same thing? Independent and focus?
Uh,
No, it's not the same
uh,
thing.
but
But focus,
how would you use focus?
yeah, yeah, it's different. They're cousins. They're
Yeah,
second cousins.
sister
The
brothers.
third thing is I'm giving. I give a lot, whether it's time, money, a little bit, but more time and resources. I like to connect a lot of people together.
Gotcha.
That gets a little challenging because culturally, I don't think people know how to appreciate that. For example, with Urban Camp Weekend, right?
Yeah,
We've had like 24, 25 Urban Camp Weekends, right?
gotcha.
For at least 20 of them, I had no vendor fees. If you were a black owned or minority owned or woman based business, you paid no vendor fees. Vendors were free. You literally paid no vendor fees to come to this event and you can make all the money you want.
Just show up and
Just show up.
but you had to,
You had to buy a ticket. You had to buy a ticket like everybody else,
you go.
which wasn't expensive. Like, the tickets were like anywhere from 75, 85, $95, depending on when you bought your ticket. But you could set up a booth and make money. I didn't start getting vendors, a lot of vendors, until we started charging. And I'm
I
like,
didn't take you serious.
yeah, people
Yeah,
don't take you serious when you try to give them.
give them something and not
I
trying
want
to
you.
force them to give you something back in return. They want you to want
People
something
would
in
call me
return.
and just like, wait, so there's no vendor fee? I'm like, what's the catch? I'm like, ma'am, sir, there is no catch. I want y'all to win. Like, I don't need your vendor money like that. Like the event supports itself.
Yeah,
If you want to give me money, I will laugh. If you just want to give me some money, just give me some money. But I'm trying to tell you, buy a ticket, show up. We'll let you set up kind of where you want to and make your
yeah,
money. We would get some vendors, but the bigger vendors didn't take us serious. And then we started charging. Now we got vendors. I
gotcha.
don't get it. So um our culture, our people can be,
See, they're flicky,
it
very
has its
flicky.
challenges to deal with, but every culture does. I do, for just to keep it a buck, black events and white events. At the racetrack, you deal with the same type of stuff, just from a different capacity. So at the end of the day, when you start doing business with all people, they'll all annoy you at some point and they'll all make you smile at some point, you know?
They're all challenging. I think they
Yeah.
all come with the same challenges, just different ways.
It's
They
the
come
same
from a different
challenge.
way.
Once you start diving deep into it, it's the same challenge. It's the same type of people. They just different colors, same type of problems, different words they use to do the same.
It's funny. You're learning that East Texas, that struggle.
Bruh.
That East Texas doing business in East Texas.
Yo,
And it'll teach you.
that's a whole
It'll teach
that's
you.
a whole nother podcast. East Texas is funny to me, boy. They're not afraid to be. Did I tell you about that article? They did a news article on me, right? About the racetrack, the event, blah, blah, blah. A positive one, right? It was a syndicated story. In
Yeah.
Longview, they posted the story with all the pictures. In Kilgore, I think it was Kilgore, they posted the exact same article, but they took my picture out of it.
could see that in Kill.
I was just like, and I told the reporter that wrote it because he was like a third party journalist, cool guy, cool little guy, white dude.
Wanted to sell to more people, to the appeal to more of the
I told him they
audience.
were going to do that because he doesn't control which pictures that they use, you know.
Right.
And he was like, "Oh, Kevin, that's crazy," because he's not from East Texas, you know. But they bought his story to put in the paper, and I'm like, "I told you." He said, "I don't understand it." I said, "It's okay. Um, I'm used to it. I grew up in a generation where they try to keep us out of venues by using dress codes like, well, your jeans are too baggy. You got this on, you got this on. Meanwhile, all the other people in there have on the exact same outfit.
We used to hate Dallas? Dallas was notorious for that in
For sure. For sure.
20 what, 2008 to 2015?
Before that.
Or
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah, well, that's when I got out to Dallas, but
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was
yeah. Before
notorious
that,
for that.
they
Like,
always do that. It's different now with social media because social media has come a long way. It's easier for an establishment to get canceled and for you to actually videotape it, right? Because remember, not everybody had smartphones back in like '07, '08. Not like
yeah.
not everybody had a not everybody was videotaping everything.
Oh,
Now,
but
as an
that's
establishment, oh, they gonna get you.
that Addison was notorious for that. Oh, Addison. Everybody used to say that about you go to
Yeah.
Addison would try their hardest to keep out other
Every
establishment,
place,
and then
they still do. There was a couple of
they lost
politicians
a
in
lot of
Houston.
those places, not even there no more. They used to do that all the time. That's the crazy part.
Well, again, most places turn over because, again, every 3 to 7 years, if you don't wanna pay their rent, you gotta get
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
It is what it is.
it's crazy. And, it's, in the right now, you could think of somebody who is someone that's continually to inspire you, that you look at to that inspire you, that you're really inspired by.
Nobody.
Oh,
Nobody, honestly. I watch a lot of interviews of successful people, and I just like listening to other people talk about their like, for example, Hit Boy. He was just doing an interview on The Breakfast Club. I was just watching that to learn about his journey. I didn't realize he got in the industry like at 19 years old, but he was
oh,
like a 19, 20-year contract with like Universal, but Jay-Z helped him get out of it. So I just
oh,
listened to I watch like Vlad, The Breakfast Club, different I watch Shay every now and then, not really, but I'll watch one of his podcasts, a Cam Newton podcast. I listen to different people's podcasts of somebody famous or successful, and I just try to get knowledge from everybody. And I've never been let down by watching an interview of somebody successful because if you listen deep enough, they're going to tell you one or two things that's going to help you in your business. And so I'm inspired by everybody I talk to. I'm inspired by our conversation we had off camera. You know what I mean? I don't I don't have any superheroes, man. I just learn from everybody. I listen to
it's something.
audiobooks.
So what is some okay, I got it, I take that. When was the last time you was inspired? Like,
And,
something for instance, I'll give you for instance, so I was, like, when I interviewed, my mentor, Tosh. Call Tosh my mentor, he's one of our frat brothers, if you look, from California, Tosh Elder. I was talking about, the show. So, when I was inspired by the show that I was watching and, called Home. It's on Apple.
mm,
One of the guys, Ghanaian guy. I think it's Ghanaian. He built his house, Ghanaian, in Ghana. It's called, A House with No Walls. House with No
I know what you
Walls or
mean.
whatever.
Ghana, I have a Ghana clock on the wall. It's Ghana in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
I know what you're
guy
talking about.
have you seen it?
No, I have an idea what you're talking about, like a house with no wall. I get it. I know.
Oh, the well,
I don't know
but
about
he's a
his house, but I know what you're talking about.
this is gonna get you. This is gonna get you. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. And if you haven't seen it, go watch it. Um the guy, he's an architect here. He's called Inno, I wanna say Inno Art, architecture, Inno Native, Inno Native, oh, Native, and I mean, he left. Come here. Sorry,
No, that's the good
just woke
part about
he
being
just woke
a
up.
parent and having the flexibility. You couldn't do this in corporate America, but you could do it here. That's the freedom that you have.
She she had to go do a job. He was asleep when she left. She texted me, "She'll be back later." You can go get snack. I'll be there.
Give him a kiss. Give him a hug and a kiss, man. Do it for the camera, man. That's success.
Yeah,
That's success. To be able to be able to let your son see you work, see you do your hobby, see you do your passion. That answers your earlier question. That's success, bro. Were
uh,
you you know, I wasn't able to go to work with my mom. You know what I mean? That's it. You just answered like that interaction right there is what we do it for, bro.
freedom,
That's
flexibility, and that freedom
I
to
love
be
that,
able to,
bro.
right? The
Yeah.
more time. Don't get yeah. I think about that too all the time.
Ghana, house with no walls.
Man, oh, but, oh, no, that I'm able to spend time with him and do these things because he has taken this time to see that I created this opportunity and created this podcast. He's
You were about
proud
to
he's
you were about to
really
get
proud of
emotional,
me.
right? You're about to get
No, man,
emotional a few seconds
because
ago.
the fact that he was very
Yeah.
proud of it. To hear him talk about it, you don't hear your kids really and as us, we didn't I don't know if we really understood what our parents did when was growing up. We maybe I don't know if you did, but
I didn't. No
we
clue.
knew that they had jobs and just knew of what they did, but never stood it, right? Or
Yeah.
what their life is. But for him to tell his friends, be like, "Hey, man, my dad got a show on YouTube." I was like, "Bro, I wasn't expecting to hear you just start that
Yeah.
conversation," right? But it made me a proud moment. It was a proud moment,
See? That's
kinda a
that's
proud moment for me just to hear him one day say that.
if like for example, if I ask you over the last 30 days, 60 days, what actually genuinely made you smile, it would probably mostly be family related.
Definitely.
So if life is about being happy and smiling and being successful, you have to think about what genuinely made you smile or laugh. If it's your family, then you're winning. You're already winning. Like you're already successful. It's not like you're already living in retirement.
Um,
You're already retired. Retirement
not
is
having
what
to what
Retirement is what freedom and spending time with your family. You're doing that. You're retired. You're done. You won at life. You have to change your thought process, man. You're doing what you think you want to do later. You're doing it now.
and that's what I'm saying. It's like full circle. Comes back
Yeah.
like the circle of life. Comes back a circle of life. But no, you got a point. No, I and think so much alike, but I think that's it's a Newpiness in it also, but
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's part of being a new, but
And the
we think
parent and the parenting,
a
like being a parent brings a lot
parenting
on you too.
experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah, the experiences. But get back to, let me circle back to that
The house
Ghanaian
with
thing.
no
So,
walls.
I also know guy, I was saying inspiring because, he inspired me because this guy, he didn't really have a great education in whatever he wanted. Saw this school, he saw these people go to school, and he was like, "I wanna go to school." No real education, no training, no nothing, no architecture school. He said basically, he was just like, "I wanna go to this school." And he went up there one day, this is kind of the story, and he just went in there and was like, "Hey, I wanna go here." And God, he was like, "Well, do you have a portfolio?" He's like, "No." He's like, "But I wanna go here." The guy said, "Well, we'll take some pictures. Go out and take some pictures and bring them back, and we can use that as your portfolio." We went to the city and just bought a little camera, went to the city and just took some snap pictures around the city and just took some pictures and he brought it back and applied for the school as a registrar for the school and used that as his portfolio. Know what architecture is and whatever. And some lady helped him. And, I guess the lady or whoever helped him register got into the school. All right. He got into the school and got into architecture school and learned all of that. Then he moved to the States as a younger. He just started creating, got into that. I forgot where he started out, but he didn't have really many clients or whatever. And he was like say he was just getting started and he would think he was in LA, young guy, and he had only a few clients. And and he had this idea, innovative native. Using native things, innovation of native using native things that are around you to use the things that your limited resources around you and to innovate those or using them into architecture and put them into architecture. So like saying your tree so like saying from where you're from, you neighbor at the proximity of things around you and your current nativity, and using those to be able to instill those into whatever the architecture is. So like the old trees, old wood out of the house, Say if your grandma had an old house that was falling apart, taking those things or the trees and around them, the bricks, the rocks, and whatever, and those things that you can use. It didn't cost a lot of money to be to build something. He took those, so he was in there and he was saying that why he was in LA. That's around when China and whatever was going through their civil war and doing those, and he was watching it on TV. He's living in LA. He's a Ghanaian, young Ghanaian, and it's just getting into the professional world. You watching this country going into a civil war, and he's like, "What am I doing here? Not making a difference here. I could be back home making a difference or whatever after the Civil War or whatever." And then that was around the time of doing the civil rights. The civil rights was happening here in America. So Martin Luther King doing the marches and all of those things, and they're sitting the bus sit-ins and whatever. He's saying they're going through a civil war actually look like us going through a civil war in this country, and I'm going through fighting and walking with these people in the civil war. My own people are going through a civil war back home, right? He ended up he ended up quitting his job, dropping everything he's doing, went back home. Just because then that what inspired him to go back home,
Mhm.
seeing that we was going through that here, and, so he went back there. So what, it was inspiring story was that they didn't have a lot of black architectures, or he didn't come from anything or whatever architecture. He went back there and built this house, built these businesses of all the local native wood, the local native things that was in the neighborhood and everything
Right, right.
in order to create this crazy house. This is like a living, breathing house without the walls. So the windows are made of like blinds, like they open up,
Oh,
like
nice.
windows are blinds, like literally
Yeah.
open, shut blinds. The walls, like his bathroom wall, he call it his wow moment at the house. It's a bamboo wall. Bamboo sticks a wall that makes the wall for the bathroom. So it's basically as the air breezing throughout the house or whatever, all the wood. So you can literally open up this whole house
Right.
without any walls. Like just literally open it up and close it. And there's no walls.
That's crazy.
So,
But no,
even
I
the walls open up. Even the walls, like, open up too, where it's like, there's literally no real walls. So, it was inspiring for him to use everything that was local and native in his people. Then he created the businesses to teach, other people around him how to use their resources because they couldn't afford expenses of other things to build houses and stuff like that. Showed them how to use their natural resources in order to build them.
no, absolutely. And again,
That was an inspiring story.
it's stories like that that I think are very inspiring, right? And there's
Yeah.
something that there's probably 2 or 3 nuggets you took from that that you implement in your own business, whether you know it or not, subliminally, you probably implement some of that in how you move around
Oh,
Earth right now. And I think in my travels over the years, and again, I was born in Germany. I've been traveling my whole entire life. I don't know. I was talking to somebody the other day. I don't know if I've ever lived in a house for longer than 7, 8, 9, 10, longer than 3 or 4 years in one house.
okay.
In my whole
Gotcha.
entire life, I've never lived in one house for more than 3 or 4 years. And so, and even when I was in college, I studied abroad for a semester. So when you travel, traveling is humbling if you travel the right way. You're always going to see somebody that has less than and more than you have. But you start realizing whether I'm in Mexico, China, Cape Town, South Africa, Dubai, Egypt, London, Paris, people all want the same thing. They just want they want family and safety. They just want to be with their family and they just want to be in a safe environment. And so once you start backing your way into that, what is it that I really want? Family and safety. All right, how do I work towards that? Or do I already have that? And if I already have it, let me start appreciating that as I have it and then work my way backwards, right? So it's not that I'm inspired by anybody. I listen to like the story that you just told me. It's inspiring. There are some things I'll
Yeah,
take from it, but I look at that story like I look at 1,000 other stories. Like,
yeah,
wow, that's dope. But all right, cool. Like when I lived in Mexico when I was in undergrad, and I had to take the bus to school, and then we'd have the elevator was always broken in school, so we had to walk up all these stairs to get to our classroom. We would spend
yeah.
the morning to the afternoon in class, and then the class would go out into the city and the country for the rest of the day. Like I was fluent in Spanish, but I saw so many people that were economically that didn't have the same resources we had, but
Yeah.
they were the happiest people I'd ever seen in my entire life. And like I'm talking about, and they kicked it, you know. And I'm talking about Uh-oh. It says it's still recording, so I'm gonna keep talking because it says it's
Nah, it's
reconnecting.
good.
Okay, it says reconnecting, but as long as it's recording, I'm just gonna keep. Yeah, it's recording on mine. So at a bare minimum, you'll be able to use the audio. So I'm just gonna keep talking. But
Yeah.
from the standpoint of happiness, I realized happiness didn't have a dollar amount attached to it because these people were now you
Hold on,
disappeared.
what's going on?
My boy done disappeared. All right, we'll see if it connects
Yeah.
back.
You said that? Oh,
But where I
it's
was going with that story, if it's still recording, and you can use this audio,
happening.
I realized that money
You know,
didn't always happiness. I'll pause there and see if I'm
yeah.
not.
Is it's not echoing on that side no more, is it? You
No,
know? Okay, good,
And
good, good.
so, but so back to what I was saying. So when I was studying abroad in Mexico, right? I realized that was my first time realizing that money was not tied to happiness as much as I thought it was at the time.
Right.
Because these people were, and I don't like to use the word poor, but they had significantly less financial resources than I'd ever seen before. But they were the happiest people I'd seen before. And this is in Guanajuato, Mexico, right? Guanajuato, Mexico, about outside of Leon, Mexico. And and I remember that semester I spent out there, and that actually changed my life, changed the way I thought about everything. And that's when I realized money wasn't tied to happiness. And when you think about it from a mental health standpoint, a lot of people that commit suicide have money. You know, there's a lot of wealthy people that commit suicide. So again, money doesn't always give. Money can solve a lot of problems. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. It can solve a lot of problems, but it doesn't necessarily make you the happiest person you can be. And so I keep that in mind, and I forget what the actual. Oh, we were talking about inspiration. I
Yeah.
was I
No,
was
you
in,
good.
I was inspired by. I'm inspired by people, man. Like everybody has a story, and half of them are pretty unique if you sit down and talk long enough.
Yeah.
And like tell me more about that, because you could only grow up one way. You know, you could never I could never live the life that you lived from the age of 1 to 40, and you can't live what I live from 1 to 40. There may be some similarity, but if I talk to you long enough, I'll be like, dang, tell me, how was that having a parent that did this for a living, or having two parents and a grandma in the house, or two cousins that live with you sharing a bed? There's so many ways you could take a conversation where it's just like, okay, that's an interesting story. So I'm inspired by everybody I talk.
Bro,
Yeah.
your story sounds very familiar. Nah, I hear you, but go ahead. No, seriously.
But you get it though, right? It's like,
Yeah.
I don't have one inspiring human being that I could be like, because they're all inspired. They've all come from, especially if you grew up in the Black community. If you dive deep enough, everybody had to get it from somewhere. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Some type of inspiring story. Unless you grew up around a bunch of wealthy Black people, which I did not. So they all had a good story, and everybody was just trying to make it and find every which way to make it for themselves and for their kids.
Okay.
My mom was my superhero. You know what I mean?
I like that.
Yeah. So that's just
So
a tough.
so there you go. Somebody that inspires you. So
Well,
do she
nowadays
inspire you?
nowadays she frustrates me, but that's a whole nother. As you get
That's how
as you get older, and now you become the parent, maybe you
the
can relate.
student becomes the teacher thing.
Bruh. So like my mom is, and I can't get mad at her because she was kind of like that with me, but she doesn't know how to tell my daughter no. And I'm like, no, she can't have that. And she's like, well, Kevin, Avery said she wanted this. I don't care. I said she can't have it.
You sound like me.
You know, I'm like, oh, bro, I got so upset. My mom took my daughter to McDonald's, and I almost lost it, bro. Like, I promise you, I almost lost it. And I was just like, are you kidding me? And I have my mom's location on my phone.
Yeah.
So when they got to McDonald's, what are you doing? Why?
You know what? I
Oh,
need to do
I'm just
that.
getting me, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, my daughter's going to tell me.
Yeah.
My daughter she will tell.
Tell on ourselves. Tell
She'll be like,
everything.
Daddy, grandma took me to McDonald's, but I only had 2 fries. She tried to give me more. I said, and blah, blah, blah. My daughter's going, Daddy, grandma's eating upstairs again. And I told her, Daddy doesn't like when you eat upstairs because you make crumbs. I'm like, Mom, you know she's going to tell me.
And your mom, like I'm the mom still. I'm still mom.
Yeah. No, she's
Yeah.
like, all right, Kevin. No, she'll listen. My mom will listen after the 3rd or 4th time. Like she'll,
Yeah.
but I'm like, My daughter is 6 and will listen after the first time I tell her, "Mom, why are you doing that?" Like, I
That's
told you,
parents,
don't.
bro.
She's like, "Well, we're just gonna go to Walmart or blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, for what? That is not, go to the park. Walmart is not a play date. Like,
Yeah.
spending money, that's consumerism. Don't, no, go walk outside. Like, why are you taking her to, so you want her to think when she gets bored, go shopping? No,
That
like, no, don't do that. So some of my female friends, they're like, "Oh, Kevin, it's let grandma be grandma." No. How about I don't? Like, I
try
don't
to keep
she
maintain order.
I
Yeah.
got a certain level of, or like, why are you introducing these processed foods to her? My daughter
Ah,
doesn't mind, she doesn't mind fruits and some vegetables. Why are you giving her these type of snacks? I don't agree.
yeah.
I don't agree with that. I don't you're gonna have to do some good editing for this because we all over the place. But I love it though. And I'm not trying to make your job any easier.
Nah,
But
man. Hey, hey, I'm loving it, man. We do this right.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
I want to be a regular. I want to be a regular guest on your podcast, and hopefully you're able to edit it and snip it to where there are some real gems. I think that come
yeah.
out of what you and I discuss, and then part of this, we darn near can have a fatherhood conversation. You know what I mean?
Hey,
And we can have it from two different angles because you're happily married and I'm happily single, and
right.
so there's
We're
two
gonna have
different.
that conversation. Hey,
Yeah,
it's twofold.
there's co-parenting as a single man, but there's also
Co-
parenting as a married man, which
hey, it feels that co-parenting from like you said, from a married man, then you say it's a single parent. It's tough. Yeah, that's a great conversation. I like that. Hey man,
yeah.
there you go. There go Jim. You just dropped one.
There you
There
go.
go Jim right there. I like that one.
But
So
let me ask you this:
yeah, go ahead.
what do you want? What do you want your listeners to get from all of your podcasts? What do you what do you want in your podcast? When somebody gets done listening and they're about to share it to somebody in the group chat and say, "Y'all should listen to this because what?"
Yeah. So what I want, so my if I could have this, what I want this to be in the ideal of it, because when you get in this space, you want to create something organic. You want it to be organic, right? And as organic as possible. What I want is to share us information, right? The information, a transfer of information, no matter what it is or how you get it, to be able to take something that can open you to rethink, like almost like recalibrate. To think of things that you want to do or things that you may be interested in or that information. So when they when they share, it's like, hey man, this is a good podcast from this person that you could just take something from it. Any information, just giving it back to, because I always think of it like this. When as me coming up, our tools, right? We were given like a toolbox, right? Sometimes when we're given tools, we give it like a toolbox and without the tools in it, or how to use the tools, or share us how to use the tools, to do what to do with the tools, or where to start, how to use the tools, or just where like when we was going to So for instance, when you go to college, just think about, like you said, the first time you went to college, right? To drop off a kid for the first time in college, right? You only know what you know, right? And if you don't have nobody to hold your hand or somebody to guide you in the right direction to use the things that you have to in order to be successful, at what matter what it is, whatever you choose to be, right? Or whatever you choose to start or inspire or just can think of the creative, and to be encouraged, to be given tools, one, to encourage people, to inspire, and to be able to give back the information of keys of success, no matter what it is, to anybody from period. Because what I'm learning is that this flight of life, no matter how smart we are, no matter how smart we think we are, we can all learn from each other. And it's something that we don't know, right? And just like what you just said, as you watching interviews, right? Just like you say, you watching interviews, you watch a lot of different and you gathering all this information from different interviews. And you're like, this person can give me so much information, right? This person is giving me this information, right? And then I can grab something from there or whatever. And that's what I wanted to create this opportunity for everyday people like us. You don't necessarily have to be the biggest celebrity. You don't, in order to just go grab that, right? And even though there are successful people on that celebrity, everybody can't be at the top of the line. Everybody ain't gonna make it. Everybody not gonna be at the top of the line. But with this podcast, it's give everybody an opportunity to be successful for somebody that's close enough to you to get those keys to success that they done went there, they done been there, or they are there currently present. And as they learning along the way, they're helping you and giving back information back to the people behind them. And they can take whatever they can get from it. That makes sense.
Nope. No, I'm just messing with you. Of course it
No.
makes sense. So let me touch on a few of those points, because that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's funny. I use the toolbox example a lot, but in a different way. Yesterday, I was talking to a friend of mine, and we were talking about relationships and friendships. And I said, relationships and friendships are like toolboxes, right?
Yeah.
I want my friends to use me, and I want them to know I'm going to use them, not in a negative way, but I want to be used by my friends, and I
Yeah.
want to use my friends. And your relationships are like a toolbox. You have a hammer. You don't need a hammer every day. You might need a hammer once every 4 years, but there's comfort in having a hammer.
Right.
You have a screwdriver. You mentioned a drill earlier, but your drill has a lot of different bits.
Exactly.
Those are all your friends, but you don't need every one of those bits every time you've got a project to do. You may only need these 3 bits. So
Yeah.
you call those 3 friends. That doesn't mean those other bits aren't valuable. They're just not needed at this moment,
Yeah.
right? Because I don't need you for this, bro. You're still my friend. You're still in my toolbox. I don't need you right now. I don't need a tape measure for every project. So I may only talk to you once a year, once every
Yeah.
3 years, but we're still solid. But I'm going to call you when I need a tape measure. But the key is having a toolbox, right?
Yeah.
That has everything you need, because you can sleep well at night knowing that no matter what project I throw at you tomorrow, you have a toolbox that can handle any project I give to you.
Right.
And that's what I feel about life. You can't throw a problem at me that I don't have a friend that really messes with me, that's cool with me, that I can't call and be like, hey, I need this, this, and that. All right, cool. All of my friends, they know I have one rule. Just answer the phone when I call.
Bro.
Just answer the phone when I call. That's it. I'm not going to call you for BS. And if I do, I'll probably let you know it's BS. And you'll know, if you're my real friend, you'll know based on the time that I call you what it's about.
Right.
Because if it's a weird time, all your friends at a certain age, your friends only call you certain days of the week, certain times of the night, certain times of the morning, certain, you know. So if my mom calls me right now and I just talked to her a few hours ago, then I know I need to answer.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't call me twice in one day.
Yeah.
She barely calls me twice in 1 week. So I know it's major. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But if my boy calls me, I'm like, oh, it's Friday, it's 6. He just wants to know where happy hour's at. I'll hit him back, you
Yeah.
know. But there's some people that call me like, okay, they don't call me at this time. Let me answer the phone. All I want you to do is answer the phone. I promise you, I'm either calling you about money or some type of opportunity. It's going to benefit you more than it benefits me when I call you.
Right.
You know, I'm not asking you to bail me out of jail. And there's only going to be 2 people I usually call for that. That usually sounds like I'm in jail a lot. There's only going to be a couple of people I call for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's how, like, when I look at Toolbox, it's about building your network so you have all those tools around you, right? Yeah. You mentioned like being dropped off at college, right? When my daughter is dropped off at college 11, 12 years from now, I already know what I'm going to tell her.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the same thing that I tell her when she's in high school. I'm going to say, think about what you want to do. If you don't want to be a doctor or a lawyer or something where you need a PhD, if you don't need secondary, like a specialized degree, if you can get away with just a bachelor's degree, I'm going to give you different advice than if you have to apply for law school or med school one day. And that advice is going to be, I don't care what your grades are. I just want you to pass. What I do want you to do is try your best, make as many friends as possible. Most importantly, join as many organizations as possible. That's going to get you the furthest. Get involved. Because having a 4.0 and being a valedictorian, you're just going to be a weirdo. You're not going to fit in with a lot of people if you spend all your time studying. That's boring. That's not necessary, baby. Be smart, be intelligent, but take a break. Be a normal child. Learn. Be cool. Nobody wants to be around the smartest weirdo. They'd rather be around somebody who's like a 3.4 5 student that knows how to have a good time.
Yeah.
But if you're a 3.0, I'm cool with that. Did you pass? Cool. Let's keep it moving. You know what I'm saying?
Not
So
too much stress, keep it a level
yeah, like
of
for
an
example, even in Kappa Alpha Psi, right, in our organization, I learned so much that helped me in corporate America. Here's what I learned about organizations: it's only going to be about 5 or 10% of the people that do most of the work. So don't even get upset if you're part of an organization of 10 to 20 people and only 4 of y'all are doing the work. That's normal. So don't get
people
in
don't
corporate
learn that.
America and
People
get
don't
mad at that. Yeah, you learn this stuff early. So you're not even getting upset. I want you to experience different things when it comes to dating and relationships. I like to put together puzzles. Thankfully, my daughter likes to put together puzzles too. I look at relationships like this, especially if you're breaking up with somebody. This is the best way to do it so they don't get mad at you.
as
You let
business
them know
wise, as are you talking about life?
life in general, when you have to end relationships, ending relationships with people is very important. You always want to end them in the most neutral, coolest, respectful way possible. And I end all my relationships pretty much the same way, but I change
Yeah.
up the wording. And I just say, listen, I put together puzzles. There's many times when I'm putting together a puzzle where two pieces look like they should match, but they don't. None of those pieces are wrong. They just don't match. They fit something else better. You and I, and I'm summarizing, you and I, we just don't fit. That doesn't mean anything's wrong with me or you. We just don't fit. But there's some place in this puzzle where you fit, and there's some place where I fit. Just because we're both blue and white don't mean we belong to the clouds. Just because we're both different shades of green don't mean that we belong in the forest. You're a different part of the forest. You're a different type of green than I am. But we still complete this big picture called Earth. We just don't fit, and that's cool. I place no blame on you or no blame on me. We just don't fit. But I still respect you. I still understand where you're coming from. We just don't fit.
It
And
sound
this,
like it sound like that Jerry Jones and that T.O. story.
I don't know that one.
No, that was a good one. But no, I
Oh, Jerry,
love
oh,
that
Jerry
the
Jones.
way that you
Jerry
said
Springer.
that because
I was thinking Jerry Springer. My
and
bad.
that no, the
Yeah.
Jerry, the way that you explain it, that's how Jerry explained his relationship when he broke up with T.O. When he cut T.O., he talks about how he drew that circle. T.O. tells the story that Jerry brought out the dinner napkin, put it on the table, and he was talking about their relationship. He was like what you said. He drew a circle, then he drew another circle. And no, he drew a circle, then he drew a line between it. The circle. And he said, this is the cowboy. This is T.O. He said, this is where we draw the line and we just don't work. Something like that, or we
Damn.
just don't fit.
That's
Or it
not
just don't
exactly the way
fit
I
no
did
more.
it.
It's like it just don't fit. And you're over here and
Yeah.
it just not gonna work.
Something else I want to say.
But
You
it
you
was you
mentioned
have to watch that.
you mentioned like the keys to success. The opposite of success is failure, right?
Right.
So again, I mentioned that I listen to a lot of podcasts of like famous people getting interviewed. These
Yeah.
I'm talking about the long ones where they're talking for like an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, right?
Right.
If you listen close enough, even the people that fail understand the keys to failure because
Nice.
because then you like they're telling you what they did wrong. If you
Right.
listen any musician from the 80s, 90s, 2000s, they'll tell you about every bad record deal they'll tell you the game. Don't sign a 360 record deal. Know what your distribution is. Understand this. I'm not even in that industry. And
Right.
I understand what a bad deal looks like. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Because I've listened to people talk about it. I've listened. It doesn't. I listen to anything. It doesn't have to be my industry. I listen to any and everything.
That's
But I
good.
could tell you about a bunch of industries. I didn't. I'm not a big Tyler Perry fan. I used to not be. Right. I don't watch his movies. I don't watch his plays. But I'm a Tyler Perry fan off of one interview, and it was like a 2 hour interview. And I remember I was going to East Texas, and I said, you know what? I have 2 hours from Dallas to East Texas. I'm going to listen to this interview for the next 2 hours. My respect for Tyler Perry is through the roof
Yeah.
because what he has done quietly behind the scenes for our community is insane. And I just didn't understand. I didn't know. I didn't understand the complexities of his studio that he built out in Atlanta and how they film other Hollywood movies at his studio.
That
All
you
the
didn't
stuff
even know that they did that.
yeah, all the stuff that he's done for black actors, actresses behind the scenes, I
Yeah.
did not know all of that.
Oh
I learned,
wow.
and so and now because I listened to a Cat Williams interview earlier today, it reminded me that he's doing. Cat Williams bought an army base in Alabama.
Yeah. I heard
and he's
about
going to
that.
start doing the same thing. So again, I listen to interviews and podcasts and I learn about what other people are doing, and it makes me dream bigger. So it's hard to pat myself on the back when people are buying army bases and they're doing this and they're donating this. I'm like, oh wow, that's inspirational. Or
There
the
you go.
or the black dude, I can't think of his name, lives in Austin, one of the wealthiest black men on earth, lives in
Oh,
Austin, Texas, who he paid for all the student loans for that HBCU.
for Houston Tilson just recently.
No. But it was for HBCU, not in Texas. It's somewhere else. But he lives in Austin. But he's a black billionaire. I can't think of his name. I'm so embarrassed because
Nah, you good.
he's very well known. But I listen to everybody.
Gotcha.
I listen to everybody just to see how they failed. Everybody that's successful could tell you a story about where they failed and
Yeah.
what they learned. And I'm inspired by every single interview. But like I watch The Breakfast Club nowadays because most of their interviews have gotten better over the years. It's not just Birdman, are you finished or are you done? It's not just drama. They've started to dive a little bit deeper in some of their interviews.
A little bit. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get more informal.
Yeah, they have a little political side. They'll start they've gotten a little more political over the years, so they'll bring in politicians on both sides. They'll bring in industry execs. So I kind of like what they're doing. I listen to everything, bro.
For real?
Yeah, I listen to everything.
But that's good though that you do. I was trying to see if I could pull that guy up for you real quick. So since you couldn't think of it,
I'll pull them up while you're talking. It won't take me
uh,
long.
but no, that's good. As you saying those points, I think it's good that you said those points about that. Oh yeah, that guy, Austin Robert S. Smith.
Robert F. Smith.
I think he's a new. Isn't he a new?
I think so. I'm
I
not
think
sure.
he's a new.
Yeah, with Vista Equity Partners. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a big deal. He's a big deal. People don't even know, and he should be a common name. Well, his name is a common name, but he should be like a real common name. He should be somebody we celebrate, in the community.
Yeah, I remember. I think he used to be in Black Enterprise back in the day.
I think so.
I think that's probably the first time I heard of him.
I think he's
Black
actually. I think he might be an alpha. He's Greek. I think he might be an alpha. But either way, he's in the D9. And so, but yeah, no, I think in these podcasts and in these interviews, and again, it's going to be based on how you chop it up and edit it. And maybe you edit it into part 1, part 2, part 3, because there's long form content and there's short term, there's short form. Not everybody's going to have 3
definitely
to listen to us.
Yeah, we are about 215, 217 right now, it looks like.
Yeah. But the beauty of even like, for example, your world of podcasts, right? I've listened to Shannon Sharp and other podcasters discuss what they had to learn in the game to where, like, for example, Vlad used to drop a bunch of like 5-minute clips, right? So he would do one big interview, but he'd chop it up into 5-minute, 4-minute clips, right?
Yeah.
And those would go viral, right? And get millions and millions. And then he would drop a week later the long form content and get millions and millions of more views. So he repurposed the same interview so many different times to get different, 1 million clicks here. He'd make 30, 40, 50, 100,000 off of one interview that just got chopped up a bunch of times.
Yeah, and the way that he used to push it out was weird. It was kind of, it would like initially push out like clickbait. And then
exactly,
but it out like clickbait. Then you was like, then it come out like a couple of weeks later, a month later.
Who has 2 or 3 hours to listen to anything?
Yeah, not a lot of people, bro.
Yeah,
not a lot of people.
Well, some people are cleaning up. They may, they may listen to stuff, but at the same time, you're in competition with people's attention span. You're not in competition with other podcasters. You're in competition with attention span. You're in competition with family dinners, work, TV, radio. Nobody listens to radio, but you're in competition with everything else they could be doing besides listening to anyone.
That's a good way to look at it. So when you see your business in 5 years, what do you see?
So a good question, and it depends on the business, right? So I was just talking to a broker the other day, and I just talked to him in between our 2 calls, right? The first one where my Wi-Fi was messing up, I called him back, and he's actually going to be in New Orleans next week. We're going to be in New Orleans at the same time, but I have been marketing the racetrack and RV park just to see how much it's worth, right? Because he thinks right now it's worth 10 times more than what we bought it for.
Yeah, hold on one second.
Yeah, take your time.
Wife, sorry about that, bro.
No, you're good.
Sorry. Can you hear me? Oh, what's going on? Huh? Yeah, I'm still on it. Hold on. I think your son wants you very well. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Mommy's on the phone. All right. He's coming. Give me 1 second.
No, you good.
Sorry about that.
No, you good. Let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, I didn't want to stop there and all I missed it as. Yeah, I
No,
probably
you
had to
good.
cut it
You
out.
good.
Just bring it back when you're done, son. Shut the door. Yeah, his mom calling to see what he wanted for dinner since he was asleep.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, let me
He has options? No, just playing.
basically he thinks we're just a guess. We his servants, actually. If you let him tell it, we
The
his
chef and
servants.
the chauffeur.
Yeah, he tell us this is all our houses. Like we told, that's what he basically told me was, yeah, it's like, yeah, this is your mommy house and my house, like in our room. He was like, it's all ours because I was like, hey man, you don't got no job, you don't have no money, well, you don't own anything. He's like, yeah, but it's still all ours. It's ours. So basically, he basically took ownership.
Hey,
He basically
put it this
he
way. Is he
claimed
wrong?
this,
But is he
and
wrong?
that's we
No.
couldn't say nothing. We was like, I guess you're
Hey,
right.
my guy gets it. Hey, don't down him, crown him, you know? But, what part were we talking about? I can't even remember.
About you were saying
Oh, in 5 years.
your marketing. Yeah, you're starting to checking out the scale
Yes.
of the market.
So in my world, besides my morals, everything can be for sale, right? So right now, being that the broker thinks the property's worth 10 times more than what we bought it for, we're taking that into consideration,
I
right?
think where your location is though, with the way that the development of 20
It's
and
best to hold on to it.
between 20
Yeah.
where you're
But
located in Louisiana and
it's
20 how it's
growing.
growing. It's
It's growing like
that
crazy.
whole 20 is about to develop. I remember I was telling you about my uncle and stuff like that. I was telling him that 10 years ago. I was telling him like 10 years ago how that whole 20, it's between from Dallas to Tyler, then from Tyler to Louisiana. They're
Yeah.
going to develop the whole side of the
Well,
highway.
absolutely.
They're going
Like
to
they're
blow it
already
up.
widening the highways and whatnot. Like the guys that some of the construction team actually stays at our Airbnb at times
Oh,
because
nice.
we're right there in the middle. So it makes it easier. Even the guys that cut the grass on the highways that are contracted by the state of Texas, they'll stay at our Airbnb because we have all the space for their big equipment, right? And all those huge lawnmowers, those big riding tractors, they store that on our property.
Yeah.
So 5 years from now, I have no idea, man. With AI and the world is moving a lot faster than we imagine. And so I don't know where we'll be in 5 years, but I would like to still be doing group trips. I personally don't want to be on all the group trips. There are certain parts I don't want to be a part of, but I'll be there, but I don't want to go to the top of the Burj Khalifa with all of y'all again. I've done
Gotcha.
it a million times. So when y'all
Yeah.
get done doing that tour, I'll see y'all at dinner, and then we'll go out at night and I'll show you around the nightlife. My staff can take you through the other stuff that I've done 100 times.
Yeah. You think you're over that part of that stage? Or are you just still exploring new? You're just growing into new
So I'm
arenas.
always going to want to travel. I'm always going to want to try new things, but I don't want to do certain parts of any of these trips anymore. You know what I mean? As far as me personally, physically being there, that's like
Yeah.
being the CEO of Disney, but having to ride rides every day. That's not fun. You know what I mean? But
That's
but but I'm never gonna not want to travel. I'm never gonna not want to show people different parts of the world. Even with our Black Travel Tube website, I'm always gonna have a platform for influencers to show their travels around the world.
yeah.
As far as real estate, um, again, everything has a price attached to it, right? Like if I said for the right price, your son, and your wife will walk out that house right now and be
Right.
like, "Y'all can have everything in here. I don't need nothing. Just give me my cell phone and my wallet. We out."
I say that every day.
Yeah, for the right price, y'all can have everything in this joint. It may have two commas in that price, but you can have the
Man.
house, the car, the laptop. You can have
So you say
everything for the
everything
right
for
price.
sale, huh?
Everything's for sale except for my morals and a couple of important documents like my daughter's birth certificates and stuff. Like, can I get that? But for the right price, y'all can have that too. You know what I mean? Like I can replace that for again, y'all can have all this. Y'all can have all this.
Nah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
What has been one of the most touching or amazing moments you have experienced in your profession?
You know, There have been okay, one of my daughter's friends, their mom and dad met at Urban Camp Weekend at one of my events, and our kids now play together. And that couple, they got married, and now our kids play together. They met at one of my events. When I look on social media and I see certain people and certain pictures, and I know them like, oh, they met at my event. They became friends 10 years ago at Urban Camp Weekend.
Yeah,
Now they're in that person's wedding. They're in just knowing that we've brought together a lot of people, a lot of businesses that have started from Urban Camp Weekend. That's my biggest business success. In my personal world, nothing besides just being a dad. I don't get excited by much. When I walked across the stage from college, I wasn't that excited. I was like, all right, cool. And then I'm like, I'm not going to that Saturday ceremony. Like, I'm cool on that. And I went to work on Monday. Like, awards. And how do you get excited about something that you expect yourself to do?
that makes sense.
Like for example, you knew before you had a child, you're going to be a good father.
Yeah,
So if I said, man, you sound like a good dad, you'd be like, thanks, Kevin. But you'd be like, nigga, I know. I wouldn't expect anything less. Like, that's my son.
yeah, but
But not everybody thinks like you, but you think like you.
yeah, but
So you're not going to pat yourself on the back for being a great dad. You were supposed to do that. And you knew you were going to do that.
right. Yeah,
You know who you are. So like, I don't get excited about stuff that you're supposed to do or that or
no,
that you knew you could do. It's like
right.
graduating high school. Like, it's cool, but I never thought I wouldn't.
Wasn't going to. It's not like I wasn't going to not gonna
Yeah,
graduate.
like
But some people, it's challenging though for them.
yeah, and
And you,
applaud yourself for that. Good for
yeah,
you. That ain't good for me.
you got another level. You got to
Yeah.
your level is higher. Your expectation level is
Yeah,
a little
I
bit
get
more.
excited for the moment. Like, who doesn't want to hear their name walk across the stage? Like, yay. But mine was superficial. I wanted to make sure I got the biggest applause at the graduation.
Yeah,
Like, I wanted, like, in high school, I'm like, damn, I think I came in like second place as far as biggest applause. But that was still cool for me. I'm like, I see why he got a bigger applause than me, though.
you want to challenge yourself to get a bit.
Yeah.
It's a challenge now.
Yeah. I just want to be the cool kid.
Yeah,
You know what I
that's
mean?
funny.
Yeah, so business success is making sure I brought people together and watch businesses flourish. Personal, being a good dad and a good friend,
Yeah,
knowing that whenever you call or text me, I'm responding like that. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? And you know that just by the
I
few
like
times
that.
we text, it's immediate, bro.
I'm the same way when it comes to people and business and stuff like that. I like to just respond. I don't.
Yeah,
Some people like to just brush people off and just like, oh, that's not that important. You never know what's going to be important or what's
right.
going to much impact it can have for that person or whoever dealing with it or how much they may need you. So
Absolutely.
that makes sense, man. I like that. What would you do if you had unlimited resources? If somebody could provide you unlimited resources and whatever it is, what would you do if it comes with it?
It's funny. I ask that question a lot to people. Unlimited resources. The first day I would call a meeting with all my friends. I've already thought this through.
All right,
I can
let's
tell you a
go.
detailed answer. I would rent out a ballroom in Dallas or Houston, and I would text all my friends and say, "Hey, I need you here at this ballroom. I have an announcement to make." And I would say, "Listen." I would get all them together. I'm gonna fast forward through this one. I get them all together and say, "Listen, I have the resources to fund all of your dreams. Let's all sit down over the next 30, 40, 50 days and let's start planning on how to fund your dreams." Some of y'all, there's going to be some overlap. So we
Yeah,
can have these sessions, but for the next week or two, for the next month, quit your jobs. I'm going to fund your life for the next 30 days. Quit your jobs, stay in this hotel, bring your
yeah.
families, but we're going to have a month meeting and we're going to deploy these assets in a certain way. And
Ooh,
we're going to put you in positions to live out your dreams. And I don't want to be a part of any of them because my dream isn't your dream. I don't
right,
care about your dream. It's your dream,
right.
but I'm going to help you fund that. Now, here's what I'm going to do because I don't trust 90% of y'all with money without
With the
going broke.
funds. Yeah,
I'm going to create an annuity for each of you. So let's just say I give everybody a $5 million annuity that pays out 10%. So now that you can't touch. So now you have 500,000 coming to you every year to fund whatever you want to do. That
yeah.
5 million you can't touch in that annuity, but it's paying out 10%. That's 500,000 a year. So now you can never ask me for money ever again.
How you think that'll work out?
I'm going to do that for all of you. We're going to create an annuity that's going to pay you every year. You can never outlive. So now I'm going to make it to where you can't outlive your money. So now you can never ever call me again and ever ask to borrow for money. I know the next time you call me is just to see how I'm doing and to see where our next vacation is. But it's not going to be about money because
Oh,
this is our last money conversation.
you think that's possible?
No,
Ah,
no,
they gonna
I
call you
don't,
for
I
money.
don't think it's possible. But you know how hard it has to be for you to call me when you still have 500,000 coming to you every year.
Hey, you would be surprised. People,
No, well, not,
you probably won't be. You probably won't be like, I
I
knew
won't
it.
be,
You be like,
but
I knew it. I just knew
yeah,
it.
yeah. But I'm giving you this amount of money. You're
Yeah,
gonna even if you go broke, you know January 1, you're getting a $500,000 check. So if you broke, you only broke for a few months until that next payment comes in.
gotcha.
You know what I mean? And so then now that we got that out the way, I'm chilling. I'm gonna talk to my daughter, baby, what's your passion? And I'm just gonna help her fund her passion, watch her win and lose at certain businesses she try to create. I may ask her, why do you want to start a business? At that point, you just become a philanthropic. You
Yeah,
find passion projects. You want to
gotcha.
you want to build water wells in certain parts of Africa. You want to create reading institutions here. That's when you just start giving out money at that point, which is what my clients used to do. You start giving out money
So
at
they
that
just
point.
giving out money, to find people to give money to.
No, you find programs that are already doing what you want to do, and you fund those programs. I don't want to
Gotcha.
start any new programs. So if I want to research cancer, I'm not starting that. There's already 100 other cancer
Somebody
organizations.
already put the legwork in.
I go to the Susie G. Komen people and be like, hey, I know y'all got the pink ribbon thing going. Let's meet. All right, boom. I want to give y'all some money. Cool. I will go March of Dimes. Okay, I like what y'all are doing. Boom. Here's some money.
Yeah,
American Heart Association. I like what y'all are doing. Boom. So now you just going to charity balls at this point because I'm funding it. I don't want to start from scratch.
yeah,
I don't want the headache of starting my own business
I
and the
got you.
liability. I want to be stress free. I'm just gonna give you the money and I'm done.
Yeah,
I have assistant.
or
Honestly, when people say it's lonely at the top, think about it. If your friends don't have money, then what are you gonna do? And what I mean by that is like my boy Al, we travel a lot together, right? The one that I mentioned that's in my will.
yeah,
He has like way more money than I'll ever have, right? So we'll travel together. But if he said, "Hey, Kevin, meet me in Spain. I'm going to be there for a month," I'm like, "Bro, I don't.
I can't do that.
I could do a week, but I have to go back and I have work to do. I still have stuff to do. I'm not independently wealthy where I could just be gone for a month or two
Right.
and not have stuff that I got to do. You know what I mean? So, like, besides you and your wife going on vacation for a month, if y'all wanted to bring other couples and have some fun, be like, hey, y'all come to Italy. We're renting out this big mansion. We got this and that. We'll pay for all your flights. Cool. But guess what? They may only have a week vacation left on their for the rest of that year. They still got to go back to work.
Yeah.
So who's to say they want to spend that week with y'all? They still got days to use at Thanksgiving,
You got me.
Christmas. They got
Man.
something. They got days that they got to allocate to different things.
Yeah.
So now you're actually pretty lonely. It's just you and your wife. Assuming you're married. If you're a single man, it's just you and
Whoever. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It's like so you got to make sure the whole team wins so y'all could kind of kick it as much as possible together. Because even
Yeah.
if you pay for everything, they still might not have the time.
Hey man, yeah, there you go, LeBron. There you go, LeBron. You just, hey, you just put your LeBron. That was a LeBron right there. That was your LeBron moment right there. Well, hey, yeah, that
But
was. Hey,
yeah.
basically, LeBron did that. LeBron.
But yeah, you want to life is about you we mentioned this earlier, freedom, right?
Yeah.
So if everything ends with freedom and being stress free, if you give me all that money, I would seek freedom and stress free, which means I'm not starting any new business.
Mm.
I'm not starting I'm handing over all my businesses.
I see you. Just give them to you. Let you make them work, and I just be there when you need me.
I'll pay somebody else to pay you to manage it. I'm no longer looking at the books.
Gotcha.
I'm paying people to do that because I want to be stress free. I don't have an ego where my name has to be on all the buildings like Trump or somebody that needs their name on the, that's not me. I
Say
don't I
that's
don't need my
me.
name on a single building.
Say that's me. You don't need to be that person. That's all me. That nah.
Yeah, like for example, and I know you're trying to wrap it up, but
No,
perfect
you okay?
example, the Macomb School of Business at University of Texas.
Yeah.
I was there before it was the Macomb School of Business. Red McCombs donated 50 million to the University of Texas while I was there, and they changed the name to the Macomb School of Business. He never went to school
Texas.
at the University of Texas, but he has a Macomb School of Business because he wrote a $50 million check. That's cool cool. I don't need my name on a single building, you
Yeah.
know. Now, I like my school. Would it be cool, to have the night school of business? I don't know. I'd ask my daughter, "Do you want that?" I don't
Yeah,
care.
I mean, that
I
is
don't.
kind of
I don't need that type of legacy. I don't care. I'll be, because
well, let me see if I can change your mind to that point.
go ahead.
Not for you, but the legacy for your family. As far as what I mean by that.
I just answered that question.
No, no, no.
I said I would ask my daughter if she wanted that.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So
That's it. That's my only family that'll be left.
exactly. But eventually, she will have kids, and just say if you have cousins, say our younger cousins are.
I don't care. I don't care.
No, I get it, but I'm
I don't.
saying
I don't care.
the creation of the legacy
What good is
that
a
it gets
legacy?
created
All right. I have
of
a
the
question.
family legacy.
All right. Let
So
me ask you this.
so almost the instance where
Okay.
it's
Watch
not
this.
just
No, no, hold on.
giving it.
Watch
But
this.
hold
I
on,
got one question.
I got you. I got you. I'm gonna
All
get
right,
you
go
there.
ahead.
I'm gonna get you there. But I mean, and I look at it like this:
I got one question.
our our culture, we can't be afraid of nepotism.
I'm rooting for it.
So that's what That's the lens I'm going to.
That's not the same as
But no, but
legacy.
listen. Yeah, well, it is in a way because you think of the Hunts family. The Hunts family, they're from Dallas.
I know who they are.
You know who they are.
Yeah.
You know they own Kansas City,
I know.
right?
I know.
Everybody in their family go where?
No, I know the
Hold on,
Hunt
the
family.
SMU.
I know the Perot
But I'm
family.
saying,
I know all the.
what I'm talking about college wise, everybody that Hunts family
All right, keep going.
automatically go to SMU.
Okay.
They because of donation wise.
All right.
So
Okay.
and
Watch this. Keep going.
it goes back from their parents,
Watch this.
and
Watch
this
this.
kids. And
That has nothing to do.
I
That
get
has
what
nothing to
for
do. That has
you.
nothing to do with legacy. That has to do with
Well,
finance. That's money. That's not
I
legacy.
get you. Right,
It's
right.
two
But
different things.
I get it. I get it. But the legacy part of it is the family legacy is where they are a legacy of educational wise. The education where it's like
With
we're
money,
guaranteeing that
with
our family
money in
has
the
the
United States of America,
opportunity of
with
education
with
there.
money
You can
United States
buy
of America,
education anywhere.
you can get into any school if you have money.
Oh,
So all I want to leave behind is money, not legacy. Money,
I-
money,
yeah,
money. You're talking about money. You're not talking about legacy. You're talking about money.
but I'm saying so in
Those are two
my
different things.
but I'm
That's not the
saying
same.
if something was to so say
Money,
I got it,
money.
I got it, I got it, I got it, I got it. But just say hypothetically, in my mind, hypothetically, it saved those parents. Say for instance, hypothetically, if you donated that name, right, that money there, and not just saying you, so just for anybody like that, put
See,
their
I'm
name
with
on the building, right, and saying that your parent, say years down the road, you did that, you put your name on there, your legacy, whatever, that's your legacy, right, the money. You're somewhere down the road as your kid, as they start to have the family and whatever, after you have passed, and say if your child had a younger child, right, had a child as well, and they died at a younger age of not knowing their legacy.
What's
And
the
now
question?
they're
What's the
creating,
question?
well, I'm saying
Come on. What's the question, bro?
they're
Like you taking a
recreating
long
the
time to get
legacy,
there.
right? So the legacy of the years, of the gaps, of the years, of the generational years is
What's
not
the
necessarily
question?
money as
What is the
far as
question?
identity wise and their nepotism of the identity of the legacy of the name. And
The
I'm just
name.
saying on that.
No, 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 no. The name. Your name. There is a level of importance in a name.
But I mean, as what it would
Now keep
provide,
in
the
mind, I have a
opportunity that
daughter.
it was provide.
Listen, listen, listen. All
That's
right,
what
let
I'm
me.
getting. That
All right,
opportunity of the name that it would provide
all
for
right. Let
that
me.
person.
All
So
right, all
like
right. Time out. Time
so
out.
no 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 I get
Time out.
no
Time out. Time
so
out.
like
Time out.
so you're nice.
Hold on. I
So
get it. No, watch
you
this.
you
Watch
get
this.
go ahead.
Watch this. Watch this. I'm gonna say a few things. In America,
Capitalism buy everything. Money
your
buy everything.
name matters. Money matters more. That's
True.
my first point.
Your name opened
Now
doors.
legacy. Let's take money and legacy are two different things, but money is a component of legacy.
Yeah.
But if I ask you to name 5 African American families with a legacy in the United States of America, Who would you name? Go.
Names:
Yes.
Robert S. Smith.
You just learned
Not
that
no, not
name.
that guy, Robert Johnson. Sorry, Johnson.
Okay, that's one.
Robert Johnson. You can also go with Magic. You can go LeBron. Magic, LeBron, Robert Johnson.
LeBron doesn't have a legacy yet. I'm talking about no.
Well, it
These are
is.
people.
It's
These are people still living. I'm talking about people that have died and left a legacy already, not living people. People that died 50 years ago and they still have a legacy, or that died 20 years
not
ago.
money wise though, because 50 years ago, it's not too far off that we had a lot of black millionaires.
We had some money. They
We
weren't.
didn't have
I
a
mean,
lot
there
of
weren't a lot of billionaires.
millionaires.
There weren't a lot of billionaires. Period. 50
Well,
years
I'm just
ago.
saying, like 50 years ago, we didn't have a
But we
lot of
had black families.
millionaires,
All right,
black millionaires.
give me black families without not even money, just legacy name wise on
Legacy
earth. Name wise, legacy on earth. Take the money out of it that has a strong legacy for what they've done for America
that
as a
has
black
passed.
yeah. What's their legacy?
Okay.
Name some family.
Name
And I
some
have a follow up
family.
question. So I'm gonna give you one, and then here's my follow up question. Martin Luther King. Okay, what's his legacy? Do you even know his kids? What do they do? When's the last time you saw them do anything? Are they active in civil rights? Do we even have a civil rights leader right now? Do you Malcolm X? Where's his family? Where's his kids? Rosa Parks. Where's her family? Where's her kids? All the Harriet Tubman.
Well,
Where the Tubmans at? No, hold on. Let me cook for a second.
okay.
If we're talking about names,
Yeah.
where are these names and what are they doing with their names? Do their names carry any weight? Could you walk down the street and be like, we know what Paris Hilton looks like. The Hilton family, we know what Paris Hilton looks like.
Right. But how
Do
do
we
hold on,
know
hold
what
on,
the
hold on, hold on. How do you know though? How do you know what Paris Hilton legacy is? Because their names are on the buildings. Their legacies are carried out and displayed to us on the buildings. Now, as what you're back to your saying is those what happened historically in black legacies when they was building and putting and making buildings and creating things. White America tore it down to make sure that they legacies couldn't stand so we could see them. So we couldn't have that statue for us to be able to recognize it and see it and create it. So therefore if
Most
it's out of
legacies don't
sight,
have buildings. Most legacies don't have buildings.
but we were talking about as
I
money
I use
the names. But
for an
hold on,
example.
you can't name if you look at most of these white legacies and predominant white legacy was money.
They're in Highland Park. I've worked
But I'm
with them.
saying what they leave behind, and you're saying by 50 years, what their grandparents left behind is their name on buildings. As buildings are
I
buildings
disagree.
with their
I disagree.
statues. So
I
think
disagree.
about it.
No. That's
Just
not
like
true.
you just think about it. You
No,
just
it's
use
not true.
Paris for one.
It's
The
not
Hiltons.
true. It's not true, brother.
Huh?
I worked with these families when I was. So remember earlier I talked about working for Bank of America. I worked in the private bank. I wasn't a teller. I worked with clients that had a net worth of 5 million or above. Right. My office was at 901 Main and 5500 Preston. Look it up. 5500 Preston it's in Highland Park. It sits on the golf course. My clients were all multimillionaires. I
I get
managed their
it.
money. I managed their money with the team. I know exactly what they did with their money.
But
The Walmart family, they're right there in Fort Worth. They were my clients as well.
But the
No,
names, I'm saying the name. This going back, we got to remember, we got to go back to the name. The name,
I'm
the leaving
saying
the
that
name.
legacy is about money. It's
Right.
more about money than it is name.
I
The
agree.
names that, like, for
The
example, you got like Rockefeller.
visuality, but the visual, the
It
name
matters.
is the
It
legacy
matters.
as
Money
well.
matters more. It matters. Money
I
matters
get
more.
you. But
Less than 1% of billionaires have their name on a building.
I can't say that.
I can. No, I can. That's a ChatGPT. Like less than 1% of billionaires actually have their name on a physical building. That's
How
just a
many
fact.
how many billionaires will we say there?
I don't. We could ChatGPT it.
But
I don't know. I don't know. But what I'm saying is,
I'm
legacy.
saying like a lot
Here's
of, but not
my
all of
legacy.
them do. But I'm saying most of them, a lot of historically does. Just think about it. The
What's a lot?
Rockefellers, the Walmarts, the Morgans, J.P. Morgan.
No, I get it.
You got the.
You can name 100 names. You can name 1,000 names. There's still a million others
I
that
agree with that.
don't have. It doesn't matter how many names you think of.
No, I
At
agree with
the
that.
end of
I
the
agree
day,
with that. But
the only thing that matters is did you leave behind enough money to fund generations?
yeah.
And if you left behind enough money, for example, here's how this works.
But how do you lose? But you can't.
Watch this. I'm about to tell you how the game works. You want a nugget to clip this, right? Clip this. So you create a trust as a family, right?
Yeah.
Let's say me and you have a son, I have a daughter, right? Let's say your son and my daughter get married. They have a trust set up.
Yep.
Let's say y'all have no more kids, right?
Yep.
All of your insurance policies, all of your assets go into that trust when y'all die.
Yep.
Same here. Now our kids are living on a trust. They're true trust fund babies,
Yep.
right? Everybody in the family, every child, every cousin has to have an insurance policy on them paid by the trust, and the death benefit goes back to the trust. So anytime
That's
somebody
a nugget.
dies, every time somebody dies, that money goes back into the trust. And that trust is, man, this is what happens in real life. This
A
isn't for
percentage of
play.
it, right?
No, the whole thing. Because the
Okay, you can
trust was paying the premiums on the insurance policy.
how do they draw from the trust though?
You can have a team of people. There's companies and banks out there that can manage a trust, that will allocate funds for a trust.
Okay, okay.
And
I
so
didn't know that.
there's
So that's
actually
good
third
then.
party
That's good
companies
stuff.
that manage
That's
trusts.
good. Because I didn't know that
Yeah.
you can actually draw from it until that person of the person of the person that the person of the actually trust.
No,
But when you
the
put it in a
trust does
family
the
trust, you
trust
can
does
draw
what we
from it.
tell it. The trust does what we tell it to do.
Right. So yeah, and you said a family
Trust documents
trust.
are probably like this thick, right?
Right.
And you probably spend about eight to 15,000, depending on how complicated it is, to get lawyers to actually draft up a true trust. You have irrevocable trust. You have different types of trust,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I'm
Revocable,
familiar.
irrevocable trust, right?
I'm familiar with that.
But at the end of the day, you have a trust set up, which is like basically a family office where it's funding itself. At a bare minimum, the money that's generating all goes into the trust, right? And when people die, that $5 million life insurance policy goes right into the trust. And we can set it up to where in no given year can you spend more than 15% of the trust. So that means you'll never outlive. So your family will be rich forever
Yeah.
because you'll never allow them, and the trust just gets richer and richer
And
and
it
richer.
goes back to
So
that
let me ask you a
life
question.
insurance. What it goes back to people using life insurance probably to fund their lives, to fund the
That's how you win
banks.
the game. You win the game through insurance. So, for example, if you're giving your son $1 million a year, right? But he's only spending like 100,000. His portfolio is growing by 900,000 every year. He can't spend enough money.
Yeah.
You get so rich where you got to give it away. I just can't spend it without being ridiculous. How many homes can you have? And even then, you still can't spend that amount of money. So your trust just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger to where you can never go broke. That's
Right.
the legacy. Forget my name on a building. I want
No,
my
no,
name in a
I'm not
trust.
taking that. I get that, but I'm
And guess
saying,
and then let me ask you
but
this.
as far as
Who cares?
as far
And
as
then at
your,
that point, who cares about who can get into SMU or University of Texas? They take college.
they don't. That's what I'm saying. But just as young people, as they grow up and they're gonna want to just have those credentials, or they
They
may
will
not,
they'll
but they
have
just
it.
gonna want them, and they can just
People
buy
know
them
rich
themselves.
people.
They can buy them because they can just donate and get a complimentary one.
Here's how you get those credentials, because my ex-girlfriend from 16 years ago used to work for the Marshall Dimes and American Heart. She worked for a lot of nonprofit. Every nonprofit in the city knows who the rich people are,
Yeah.
because there are people out there looking for them all the time to get them to become donors. They look at all these donor lists. They will know your family name in your city. It's not a secret on who has
I
money
know,
in
and
any
that's
city.
exactly.
And so when you're donating $1 million a year to 10 different organizations and they put your name on this table, like I was in a hospital the other day with somebody, there's a big wall with like all their big donors on it, on
Yeah.
the wall. I'm assuming they probably paid 100,000 for each one of those little plates or whatever, right? They will always know who the rich people are. That's your legacy, that your kids are just still giving away your money with their name on it now,
No, I got it. But again, they name on it.
if that matters to them.
I'm just saying it's the fact that of the
Their name is
recognition
on it because they
of
got
the
the
name.
money.
Right.
That the money
And
comes first.
that's what I'm saying. But it's just recognition of the name. It's where it just opened up the doors no matter what.
If you want their recognition. Like the Forbes list, right? The Forbes list isn't the richest 100 people in blah, blah, blah. It's the richest 100 people that filled out the Forbes paperwork.
Exactly. I'm very familiar with all of that.
So, no, for the audience,
Yeah. Yeah.
So you know how many royal families in the world are way wealthier than Elon Musk? And Elon Musk isn't the richest person in the world.
Right.
He's the richest person in the world that will allow people to track some of his assets because most of it's on Wall Street. There's a lot of families that are quietly wealthy.
Bali. Yeah. You're
Most of
right.
the Highland Park,
You wouldn't even know who they was if you wouldn't even know that they were or who they were if you didn't know
that's the type of wealthy I want to be. I don't want you to know. I don't care to be known. I just want to be able to walk through and just kick it.
and not know. Yeah.
When people know you have money, you kind of become a target in a good way, sometimes in a bad way or good way. I want to be left
Yeah.
alone. I want to have money and be left alone to just have fun with my friends and family.
There you go. Yeah. I like that.
I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be known. If you notice at my events,
You
I don't even get on the microphone. I don't touch the stage. I'm in the background of a lot of stuff. I might be out there emptying out the trash. You don't even know.
yeah. Is that what is one of the reasons of this idea with that inspired you to be this creative and to be this entrepreneur and to be able to create something of your own, like your babe?
I just
Is
want to
that
have fun, make money, and just chill, bro. Like that's for real. Like the more money you can make, and it gives you the freedom to spend time with your family. That's it right there, man.
yeah. So um if you all right, so with that being said, the keys, drop a couple of keys to success
This guy.
to give back to the people, to the power of the people. Power of people gives the keys back to them of success that you would like to share with.
Read everything. We don't read in society. We don't read our car manual. We don't read the fine print. We don't read. If you want to start a business, read the fine print of a lot of stuff. Read the terms and conditions. You know, like if you're a CPA, like anybody
Yeah.
who's had to read like an accounting report, you want to read the footnotes.
Hey,
That's where all the juicy information is, the footnotes.
yeah.
If you're selling a product, go look at everybody else's products that are similar to yours, read their terms and conditions. That fine print is going to tell you all the stuff they went through that got them in lawsuits or got them, got them sued or the mistakes they made are in the terms and conditions. Because you only write it because you got sued. And you know what? To not get sued again, your lawyer said, "Hey, put this in the terms and conditions." So when they click that box, they say that they already knew about blah blah blah. The game is right in front of you if you read. You just got to read. Most people want to just get rich quick. Well, if it was that easy, somebody smarter than you would have did it last year or the year before. Read. Think about what you're getting involved in. For example, if you and I spoke 5 years ago, I'd have been like, bruh, a digital magazine? Don't do that. People aren't reading like that. They have audio books. They got all kind of people aren't reading.
Yeah.
They're watching. They want to watch stuff on YouTube and TikTok, and they're like, oh, I don't even have cable. Yeah, you don't need it. You're on TikTok and Facebook and Instagram all day long. So nobody's reading. Nobody's reading blogs anymore. They're listening to them. You said give some nuggets. Let me stick to the question. Read the terms and conditions and do the hard part. Do the hard part. Do the hard stuff. Whenever you think you've read it all, read something else.
Yeah.
There's too much information to be stupid.
Awesome. I like that. I like that. Now, let the people know where they can find you, follow you on your journey, or what they can follow, what you got going
I
on,
don't
and how
want
they
them to
can
follow
follow
me.
you.
No, I'm just playing. But for our travel stuff, urbanaventsglobal.com. That's URBAN events, EVENTS, and then global, GLOBAL.com. You can find that on every social media platform: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, YouTube, TikTok, Meetup, LinkedIn. We're on all of them. WhatsApp. Just type in Urban Events Global. When you find us, if you look in our bio, you'll find all of our other pages. That's it. My name's Kevin Knight. I'm on social media, but I'm not that cool. I just post like, my daughter doing stuff and, I be trolling, having a good time. But find the business. Don't find me. Um,
Oh, man, but you got any events coming up? What you got coming
Yeah,
up?
we
So
have
yeah.
so every June and October we have Urban Camp Weekend. We're doing that in Kilgore, Texas. That's in East Texas at my property. That's like think of like a homecoming slash. It's an adult field day weekend, adults only. And it's camping. It's live music. It's a comedy show. Open bar. We don't charge for alcohol. It's an open bar. It's just a good time. Just look at Urban Camp Weekend. Just like it sounds, Urban Camp Weekend. People will rent RVs or have RVs delivered. They'll sleep in tents. Yada yada yada. We have Dubai. We travel, so we go to Dubai, Greece, Cape Town, South Africa, Ghana, all the Caribbean islands. We go there. That's going to be on urbanaventsglobal.com. But yeah, that's it.
Already. That's good stuff. And Kev, man, it's been a pleasure. It's been an honor to have you on the Power of People show. I want to say thank you for coming through. Showing the people love
Yeah.
and giving
I
all
can't
the
wait to get out of this
nuggets.
square outfit I have on. You know I wanted to wear sweatpants and a t-shirt so bad. This is not freedom. This is not freedom. Oh, all right. I got one for you. And the funny part is some of this I'm doing intentional because I'm making it harder for you to edit some of this. But this one guy named Cowboy, he was on a little Asian dude. He was on Survivor,
Yeah.
the reality show Survivor. Remember that show? Survivor, the little reality show?
Yeah.
He was on that show. I met him in Houston at an event, at a reality TV show event. And I had on a suit and tie at the time. I just got off work. And he looked at me dead in my eyes. He was a little shorter than me. He said, as a black man, you shouldn't want to wear a noose.
Gotcha.
I
Yeah.
said, whoa. And he told me my tie was a noose. And I'll never forget. This was probably like 08, 2008 when he told me this, 2008, 2009. Real cool dude, laid back dude. And that I'll never forget that. And as I was exiting corporate America, I was like, I'll never wear a noose again, man. And only time I wear it is if I have to for like a wedding or something, a funeral, something fancy that I have to be at. But
Yeah.
I never want to put on a noose again.
Yeah.
And that's what motivates me. I don't want to wear a noose. I don't want to be told what to wear.
I love that, Doc.
Yes,
That's a
sir.
great note. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kevin Knight himself. You're gonna give us some love, Mr. Kevin Knight himself.
Good times, man. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. I love it. It's been a great conversation. Definitely gonna have you come back to the Power of People show. And if you could check us out, we on YouTube. We're gonna be on Spotify, Apple iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, iHeart. You can find us on all the different platforms to hear our show. We would say we out. Appreciate you, Kevin, coming through. Love you,
Sir.
my
Yes,
guy.
sir. All right. Love you,
Powered
brother.
by
Take care.
Riverside FM.